Oh shit. I've been live for 20 seconds. News to me. Hang on now. Alright.
Hey,
Hey,
you're looking fresh.
Hey, thank you. Oh, I'm getting some echo. Testing, testing.
Is this any better?
Yeah, I don't hear
I'm
any more echo.
seeing. Okay, all right.
Wait. Test, 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 test. Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like it's around when I'm talking, so I'll just mute when I finish talking.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, what do you think about the change of topic?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's gonna get us. We're gonna be in the Bible a lot for that, I think.
Maybe. Because, well, we could be. Definitely a lot more than with the other topic about just broad existence. Let me see if I can actually move this up a little bit. Like slow. Let's put her up there.
Let me do my dailies.
Not even really a direct claim, right? It's like about God being evil. This is like,
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he totally wants us to think so. Okay. I'm gonna send out my invites here. If you guys are sitting in here and you're familiar with the stream, you want to support, early engagement really helps push out the stream to the algorithm. So you can hold your thumb down on the screen, brings up a list of people that you can spam the shares to. That'll help. Taps at the beginning help. Sending your heart me's and all that stuff, that really helps. Appreciate you guys. See, Cyber's already here. I'll skip him in my list.
Welcome in, Cyber.
Cyber these nuts construction. Guys, I'm Lobes the Absurdist. I'm joined this evening by Rat Soup. If you aren't familiar with Rat Soup, he's frequently live with his partner Robot Goat. You might know Robot Goat. If you don't, I mean, familiarize yourself with these people, okay? Because they're relevant. For fuck's sake. Alright, let me make sure that I turn this off.
David in the comments says, "How does it feel know he is inside of you?"
I mean, it feels like it's very festive. I mean, it is the holiday season. Like, it's the month of, you know, um, men enjoying men and all sorts of stuff like that. So, yeah, it's like, get with the holiday spirit, man. Like, it is the season for some.
Oh, TJ, that's not very nice. We were just talking to you last night.
All right, I'm gonna grab a beverage real quick, and then I'll jump into the first guest.
Sounds good. In the meantime, guys, make sure, like you said, you're liking the stream and commenting and sending out those dailies, those heartbeats and stuff. That gets some more opposition in here. Get some people talking. Yeah, TJ Boobin. Yeah, I was just talking to you. I got myself some cider that I'm sipping on tonight.
You're in cider.
Cider. And cider, I hardly know her.
Okay, let's check the guest box. I know somebody did request. I don't know if they're still requesting. Okay, guest box is empty. So if you guys want to be the first guest, request now, and I'll bring you straight up. This is a thought that I've had quite a lot, and it's usually where a conversation about God's morality goes to with me. And then a few months ago, I saw Mezzo run this, and I was like, that would be a good prompt. And I forgot about it up until like just the other day. I wanted to change it, but like setting up the prompt in OBS is a little bit annoying, because I'm doing the dual stream, so I can type it out on TikTok and it usually looks exactly how I want it to without having to change some settings. But I had to like it doesn't take that much time to add the prompt, but I do have to like click the box to add the outline, and I can change how thick I want the outline to be. I do always have to change the color, which is annoying. And it seems like the thickness when I max it out, it's like very similar to when it's almost gone. So then just like finagling
Huh.
with the where it is, flipping back and forth to make sure it's in frame on the vertical. It's just annoying. So I never felt like I had the time to do that because I always like turn on the computer right before it's time. And I'm like, I'm just gonna run the same thing.
Robot Goat is really good at making all these backgrounds and all these fonts and stuff like that. They put a lot of effort into that.
I like the branding that they've got going on. It's like very consistent. There was like a period of like rebrand where it was a little bit inconsistent, but now I think they've really found how they want it to look, and it looks good. I like the animation style. It kind of reminds me of like early 2000s Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Did you see the shirts that we just started doing?
No, no. Well,
Yeah,
well,
we
maybe. I don't
just
think so.
well, I don't want to show that on your stream, but next time you're checking out Robot Go, check out the shirts that we just started doing.
Okay. I did want to do sort of a branding for my prompts too. And actually, I was inspired by Robot Goat to do so because I was like, nobody's really doing branding on their like HUD or whatever you want to call it, their prompts.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be kind of cool to have because I've kind of pretty much abandoned the Lobes Lounge branding, but I still have it as the title of the YouTube streams. So I thought I could bring that back and have it like over top of it in a fun way. Maybe incorporate my uptack, like my PFP on the corner somewhere. Because these are like
Yeah.
some branding things that I had at the beginning that I was putting everywhere, and I just stopped doing it because it was just cluttering up the screen. But I think you can make a nice little just text field that has that stuff in there that doesn't make it look cluttered. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes a little bit of time, but you definitely can. I think it'd be worth doing. Yeah, a little bit. I think it seems people seem to find it a little bit more visually engaging too. It keeps people attention just even as a static screen somehow.
hmm Yeah. Although I do think that if I'm not going to do that, the minimalist thing I've got going on right now works very well. I think that people like the minimalist idea because it's not flashy. It's like no frills. Just looks clean.
It invites the stoic type of people from all sides of the argument, which I enjoy.
I do like talking to stoic people, although when they're stoic and irrational, that's really irritating because I can never tell like, if their like tone is implying something or not. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because a lot of the time when you're stoic, you're pretty mono. I think I'm relatively stoic, generally speaking. And so I'm kind of just a straight line most of the time, where
Well,
where
I don't
most folks
necessarily
can.
mean inexpressive. I mean more like people who are intentionally trying to separate their personal like attachments to the idea from the conversation.
Um, yeah, no, I do like that. I think that oftentimes you do get a little bit more monotone or inexpressive when you're trying to actively wrangle your emotions from affecting the way that you speak. So you'll like
That is
that
true.
might be what I think I started off doing that at one point, and now I think I just speak pretty monotone when I have these discussions anyway. At work, I'm talking like I'm like a different guy. But when I talk about a serious topic, it's like, all right, let me just get fucking really serious. I think I do need to like be more expressive. I think that could be inviting. Maybe smile a little bit more.
I think unless the topic is something that's emotionally charged, I want to try to stay like introduce moments of lightness with it, not necessarily to like distract people or throw people off or anything, but just to kind of remind, like connect as a human here and there throughout the
Yeah,
conversation through little ways like that.
and make it fun.
Um,
Yeah, so it's not just
yeah, because
all. Yeah,
the ideal debate is two people trying to find a truth together. You know what I mean?
yeah. I've used the analogy of like the two hemispheres of the same brain. We should think together.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Guys, there's over 80 people in here, and we haven't had a guest yet. So if you're wanting to talk about the prompt, definitely request up, and you'll be the first guest. And thanks for all the taps, guys. We're trucking along to 2,000. Let's see if we can get 10,000 ASAP. ASAP. Oh, I forgot. I didn't play your intro, guys. This is Rat Soup's intro. It doesn't need to be in
yeah,
your
that
content.
always gets me.
Yeah, but fuck yeah. It doesn't need to be anything insane with a whole bunch of lyrics and shit. It's just an intro jingle. Sometimes I think people will overdo their AI stuff. It just needs to be a little hook.
TJ, if you're not going to request in, you should at least share the stream in your evil Westboro Baptist, Christian servers or whatever.
Ew, what? Westboro Baptist?
Do you know Poop Man Jones?
Yeah.
I think he's a mod. He earlier today he added someone. I didn't see the rest of the conversation at all, but he added someone and goes, "He just won the award for top Christian from Westboro Baptist Church." That had me cracking the fuck up.
Oh man. Damn. This is like, whoa. What's going on? Why am I seeing like, dude, this thing's bugging out. I'm seeing a jump from like 75 to 58 to 75 to 58. That's weird.
It's been saying around 80 to 75 on my screen.
It just, yeah, my shit's bugging out then. Guys, somebody come up here. Let's have a conversation.
We don't bite.
We don't. Oh, but you know, there is this one thing that I showed Cyber last night. Were you watching the stream last night?
Not last night, no.
Okay. I took Monday off because fuck you guys. But then last night we were talking about, I forgot I had generated this song, but I would do Bible songs with lobes, and I did 2 of them, and I generated a third one that I never ended up finishing, like the video. I never finished the video. But I still have the audio for it. And so I downloaded it, and I created the source because Cyber brought up Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29, and I'm sure you're familiar.
That is that the Hyman one?
Nope, this is the you are like sold to your rapist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 22 has so many gems.
Yeah.
Who believes in God nowadays?
That's what I'm saying. What's up, Prime? Are you at least 18?
What's up, man? You said what?
Are you
Sorry.
at least 18 for TikTok purposes?
Oh, I'm 28. I'm 28.
Okay. Are you an atheist?
I've been fighting with this shit a lot, so yeah, I got you.
Are you an atheist? Are you Christian or something, or what?
I'm an atheist.
All right. Well, what did you want to add?
I didn't mean to interrupt y'all, but
You're good.
You're good. I'm
Yeah,
okay
I
with
just don't
atheists coming up
understand the belief.
for like briefly.
wait, sorry.
I'm cool with atheists coming up briefly, but I'm trying to talk to people who are like Christians or like theists or whatever. But did you have something that you wanted to say?
Have you ever talked to Muslims up here?
Yeah, plenty of times. I
Do
really
they
need
just
to
go
improve
off
myself
on you?
more on their book. What?
Do they just go off on you?
They usually run like, they usually talk about contingency, and they talk about how the Quran predicts scientific knowledge that we have today and stuff, and those are the 2 main things that they bring up.
So stupid. But I think it's all dumb, to be honest. I think we're just here and we actually don't know what the hell is going on. That's what I think. And people just have to have a way to cope in a world when you don't know what's happening. Like, you just have to have something because you know you're going to die. Everyone knows that. Well, I would hope so. But, like, I would say everyone knows that.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
it's
because I've been
interesting.
trying to live forever and it's been working so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far the streak hasn't come to an end. We'll see if hopefully there's no
Mhm.
combo breaker, but yeah.
Well,
I might even
I
do.
hope you fucking don't have no crazy people.
Oh yeah, well that's high hopes. All right, thanks for coming up, Brian. I
You
appreciate you
too,
being
man.
here.
Oh,
Yeah, you're welcome for coming up.
You know, there are some. I don't think it's entirely impossible that there could be an end to aging within our lifetimes. I don't necessarily know
I
if
think it's
that's the
within the
same
realm of
thing.
possibility. I recently, this was like last year, I heard about such a thing called a head transplant, where like
Yeah, they've been
it,
trying that for a long time.
yeah, like put your head on a body that will sustain because like the head and the brain isn't really the issue. It's everything else, apparently. So, I mean, if you can hook yourself to a body that'll metabolize the biomass in your head, that's where like you are, right? That's like the cockpit, right? So, if that can sustain your head, this like make me feel like Futurama. It's like the head
Well,
museum stuff.
yeah, that there's the one I think is really interesting is so there's like I don't know the full science behind it, but you know telomeres, right?
No, what's that?
They basically, if I'm this is a real rough understanding of it, and I'm getting it wrong, so look this up on your own. But they're roughly going to be the things that copy and transfer the DNA as cells replicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they maintain basically the shape of the cells, and telomeres over time degrade, which is what causes cells to degrade, which is what causes aging, right?
Right.
So there's been experiments in extending the lifetime and the usefulness of telomeres, which is effectively paused aging, at least in mice and things like that. Um, I think there's like I think we can even do things like protect our genetic code basically from aging, which is what most aging just sort of is just slow degradation of our genetic
Yeah,
code.
that's what it is. Yeah. And that's I have looked a little bit into the research of that because obviously your mortality is pretty just intrinsically scary. So if you look into like, well, how close are we to discovering the fountain of youth, like scientifically speaking? Yeah, and that's kind of like I didn't remember the terminology, but that's pretty much what they were talking about. There's like this one um doctor and she's like or some scientist and she's like experimenting on herself to like see if she can pause or slow down the aging process. And I don't know how that's going. I just read about it one time. Seems like it's something that could be um in the cards for may potentially this generation. But I don't want to get my hopes up too much. And even if it did,
Yeah,
I can only imagine the like the most like the richest people would get it and just like nobody else would.
yeah, at first, but I don't know if it becomes possible for any like if it's cheap enough for anyone to get it. The company could also just put you into debt slavery for 100 years while you have it, and then you
That's
get to
true.
tell you to enjoy the rest of your immortality afterwards.
That's true, but there's also other implications. Like now, overpopulation would really become a thing, and like, convincing the younger people wouldn't be as important as convincing the older people of new ideas. Where it's like, if I can convince the young people, they live a whole life with this idea. The people who have like the hard minds, they're not going to change their mind. Well, they're not going to be here very much longer anyway. So like, we'll just focus on the. But like now, it's going to be like the people who are more established and have means to like do stuff with their money and their experience, the people who can't have their minds changed as easily, they're going to just be living forever and stuff. And that's going to be another thing. But anyway, we got a guest. Hey, Big Mac, are you at least
Yeah,
18?
Yeah.
And are you a theist?
Yeah. I'm a Christian.
is your PFP a mitochondria giving a thumbs up?
Yep.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. All right, so, well, Ratsub and I are both atheists. Why does God want us to think he's evil?
Uh, I don't think he does. I think he wants us to love him like he loves us. I think that if he didn't love us, then he wouldn't give us the chance at a life. And I think that that is a large problem with people. They don't really respect the value of life. That's mainly the reason that I'm a Christian, is because I see so many people mistake like the value for life and the things that happen in society and the things that happen to people, and the lack of empathy just
So yeah,
it makes me feel like I have to have an incentive to give hope,
life on its
or at least
face,
have it.
life on its face, like if somebody gives somebody life, I don't consider that to just on its own be a good thing. I think if somebody was going to be evil, they would really need living people or organisms or something to terrorize, right? If there's nobody around and you can't really be evil, you would need to give somebody life so you can make them suffer.
Yeah, but if we were suffering and all we could experience is terror, and it's this maniacal God that has set up this like construction to make us feel sad. Like if you're equating torture, like literal torture, to depression or sadness, sometimes being sad sometimes, that's a false equivalency.
No, I just mean
I
like
do believe that.
gratuitous suffering, because the idea is that God is all powerful, all knowing, and like all benevolent. But this can't really be. God is allowing gratuitous suffering to exist in this world when He has the means to stop it and the motivation to stop it. But when He doesn't, it makes it
He
look
will
like
stop it.
it makes it look like He doesn't care or that He wants it to happen.
Well, he does care. So here's the point: is we all have sin. Sin is a thing that's rampant in the world. The world is made of sin. It says we were born into a world of sin. And I believe that a large reason of why we don't really experience God on a day-to-day basis, or why suffering happens, is because sin is the separation from God. Sin inherently is the disbelief or irrational thought that there can't be a creator, which
God's
I don't mean to
God's
equate
not able
rational
to
God.
like he's not able to contest with sin. Like he's trying to get to us, but sin's more powerful than God, and it's preventing him from
Well, no,
expressing himself in a coherent way.
yeah. So if he weren't to allow us to have evil be done, then that would disregard free will.
Who
And
cares?
he has set it up in a way, he does, because he's set it up in a way where if you have to prove yourself to get into heaven, if you have to love God in order to get into heaven, then it's just like a
Um,
filter system. It
well,
distinguishes.
I
This
think that
also doesn't address that suffering predates humanity and therefore sin.
that's true.
I
That's true.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that animals can experience sin.
Well, anyway, so with heaven, are you saying are you of the belief that heaven has no suffering or has no gratuitous suffering at
Um,
least?
I would say so. Yeah.
And the reason why we're going through this life with the gratuitous suffering is to like put people through a test or something to like
Well,
earn your
it's to.
place in heaven.
I'm not very smart, so bear with me here.
Granted.
But
Okay.
uh, I think that a large percentage of the people that believe that they're going to get into heaven aren't going to, and that's
I
because
agree with that.
yeah, that's because they're either ignorant, or they're misled, or they're just born with hate. There's something in them that just makes them hate people, and that's not. I don't
Well,
hold that against
that's
them.
not
That's
really what I was
human.
asking
That's
though. So I was just asking like because God has created an environment, heaven, where there is no gratuitous suffering, and I'm just wondering, well, like why is there this one where there is gratuitous suffering? And so I thought that the idea was that we have to go through this life to like see what we're gonna do to see if we're worthy of this perfect afterlife in heaven where everything's sunshine and rainbows and
yeah. I
pleasure
don't
and stuff.
know.
Because it seems like
If you're asking
this
me
life is
why
just
God,
arbitrary. Like it's
if
pointless.
you're asking me why God created all this, I don't know, because I'm not God.
Right.
You
So all
can't
that
know
we
that
can
because
say
you're not
is
God. I
all we
can't know
can
because I'm not God.
all we can do is reason with the reasoning skills that God would have given us. So if I see, for instance, there's a child, and I know for a 100% fact that they're about to be abused brutally by a guy with a long one, and I don't stop it, but I could stop it with no harm to myself, then I think that that's pretty sick of me if I were to not do if I were to not stop that from happening.
Okay, has
But
that related to
God in
Christianity?
this situation though is he knows for a fact that this child is just about to be abused by some big sweaty guy with a long one. Um, and he thinks that the free will of the abuser is just more important than the safety of the child. But that's like gonna make me think that he must be evil, right? And naturally, I would think that. So why would God want me to think that? Like, why is he gonna behave in a way that's gonna mislead me to think that he's actually a total sick monster?
Well, I don't think that because something happens and he doesn't prevent it means that he's inherently evil or something. If we can agree that this is a test to get us into heaven and show our loyalty and love to God, then somebody who does something important like that would be proven to not be doing that out of love. That would be
So,
sin.
so
So the ultimate punishment for doing that would be living an eternal like life in hell, where there's it's separate from God, separate from heaven, and so to like ultimately it will all be worked out. Everything will be fine. He forgives
The ends
the,
justify the
the
means, is what you're
child.
saying.
yeah, two
Yeah,
two
yeah.
issues
Well,
with that as well. There's
I'm
first of all,
saying that
you
justice
mentioned a
will
test. Does God not have perfect knowledge of what's going to happen anyway? He doesn't need to actually allow the suffering to occur in order to see the results of his test, right? If he knows everything beforehand. Secondly, even if he does need a test to actually occur, he doesn't need to let the victim actually suffer the consequences of the test, which is presumably on the abuser's morality. You know what I mean? It's a definite choice to value the abuser's free will over the victim's free will.
Yeah. So I think that I just think that why would he intervene? Why would he
Because
intervene
he's good.
if he created this entire thing for us to prevail? I think that the whole point is that all of these horrible things do happen,
Do you
and
think he
there's nothing that
never
we can
like?
really
Do
do
you think
about
that
it.
God just never, ever, ever intervenes?
I don't know.
I mean, he
Because
does in
like
the Bible, doesn't he?
that would be at least
Yeah,
consistent if he
outside of the
never
Bible, I don't
intervened.
know.
Okay, so you like don't even think that the Bible is actually historical, or you don't think that you think those are just like stories that are made up or something
I
that never
believe
happened?
that I believe that I believe that the majority of the first-hand testimonies of Christ are true. I believe that the all of the societal and geographical stuff is true. All the lineage stuff. I believe that everything that is backed up with actual evidence, and
Well,
like
the
historical
lineage
like
stuff
like
is
cross
refuted by the
references or
Bible.
whatever.
Yeah, the lineages contradict. There are no first-hand witnesses, and the places that
That's
exist
not
are
true.
exist and anachronistically.
Yes, I wouldn't agree with any of those things.
Those are all unfortunately just facts.
No. So
Josh,
would you would
fair.
you would you agree that there is a person? Would you agree that there is a
I,
person?
I kind of want to get back to the point of suffering, though, because again, I want to point out that suffering existed before humanity, and presumably humanity was the one that started the original sin. Suffering would predate sin. We have like bone cancer existing in dinosaurs. We have parasitic wasps that existed for millions and millions of years. Like suffering is inbuilt to life itself.
Yeah, I agree that animals can feel suffering too.
Right. So why would suffering exist before sin, before a downfall?
Because sin isn't like suffering is a result of sin.
When did sin come
Sin
into the
inherently
world?
isn't suffering. Sin is something that is done that it's something that separates you from God, and
What
When did
is
sin come into the world?
something that you do to sufficiate yourself, or your rage, your pride, your
Yeah.
ego.
Look, look, I know the Lord. When did sin come into the world?
When did it?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know much about Genesis.
In that case, I have a different question. What sin would the dinosaurs have committed to earn cancer as a consequence?
Yeah, so like I don't agree that cancer came from sin. I would agree that cancer is like um I would just say that it's an unfortunate circumstance of nature because it never directly disagrees that evolution is a thing outside of Adam and Eve.
So it's an unfortunate circumstance that God could not have prevented. He's like, I wish I could make a world where there's no cancer, but it's
Yeah,
just
well,
impossible
once
for
again,
me
if you're
as
gonna
God.
ask me why God does things, I can't tell you that. I just know that this
What you're implicitly proposing is that cancer is part of
sin
God's perfect
separates you from
design.
God, and
Yeah.
sin creates suffering in the people, yourself, and the
Well,
people
cancer
around you.
causes
I believe
suffering,
that.
and that would follow that sin would cause cancer if cancer
Yeah,
is
so
causing
just
suffering.
because it does the same thing, just because it results in the same thing, doesn't mean that it's also the same thing.
Do you think that's well? I thought that you were
if
saying that
suffering
the root of
revol-
suffering was sin.
Yeah, no, the root of sin, or no, sorry. Suffering, sin results in suffering. So does cancer. If somebody has cancer, they're not committing a sin.
Was
why-
cancer part of
yeah.
God's perfect design for the world?
I don't know.
Why is there cancer?
I don't know.
Because if God is all powerful and all knowing and all good,
Forward.
then we wouldn't expect there to be
I
cancer.
do not know.
Yeah,
You don't know because it's a
you don't
contradiction.
know.
It's incoherent.
The reason you don't know Big Mac is because the obvious conclusion is that God either doesn't care or is evil. And I'm like wondering if he's
No,
not
it's
evil.
because-
If he's not evil, why does he want us to think he's evil by putting cancer in there for seemingly no justifiable reason?
Yeah, well, just because there's like a misreading of cancer, misreading of DNA or whatever, I forget exactly what it is, but it has something to do with DNA. I don't necessarily think that means that God is evil. Once again, just because evil happens in the world and he doesn't prevent it, I don't think that inherently makes him evil.
Well, he would have
Like, just-
designed our
I think it
bodies
makes him
so that they are
neutral. I think it makes
fallible
him.
and
I think
susceptible
it, I
to
think it
cancer
makes him
development.
neutral more than anything. I think that if he's not willing to
Well, he
make
deliberately
a
created
choice. Yeah, if he creates something, that doesn't mean that he's responsible for the things that happen after.
It
Like,
only
if
only
you have
does
a child.
it only
If you have a
matters.
child,
It only means that
if-
Big Mac.
can you listen to my-
No,
if you
I
have a
because
child,
what you're
and
saying
they
is not
get-
actually true. It does. It only
if you
matters.
have a child,
It only makes a difference, Big Mac, if he's all knowing. If he's not all knowing, then I'll agree with you. But if he is all knowing, then he is absolutely responsible for all of the ramifications of whatever it is he does.
no.
Yes.
How?
Because if you know what every result will be because of the thing that you're doing, then you can take every single potential outcome as certainty, knowing that you are the catalyst for that chain of events, right? Like
Yeah,
this,
but why
like
not?
if you break it down, I could say that like, well, the guy, he might have pulled the trigger on the weapon, but then just whatever happened happened. I mean, he was aiming at the person, but it's like the just physics does what it does, and there's a whole
How is
chain of
that
events.
analogous?
The chain of events that all he did was pull the trigger on the weapon, and then the bullet. I mean, the bullet just does what a bullet
Once
does.
again-
You know what I mean? Like, of course, you would be responsible for whatever happened with that bullet and whatever happened with the family. If you are the one who pulls the trigger, you would be responsible for all of the ramifications of that action, especially if you knew the
Wrong
consequences.
sentence.
No, I didn't realize I was in
Yeah,
grammar
yeah.
class.
Well, I mean,
Not capping
it's
out.
kind of annoying when I'm obviously trying to get a point out. But anyway, I don't agree with that. I think that I think that if he chooses to do nothing whenever he knows the ramifications of some action that has been made, doesn't necessarily mean that he's the sole determinant of whether or not that thing. It doesn't make him evil if he decides not to interact with it. I think that, but whenever he does interact, whenever we do see him interacting, he's doing good things. He's helping people. He's giving people a message. He's telling them a certain a certain way to live their life that will help them.
Like when he
And he's
commanded
doing
the
it in
Israelites
love.
to slice babies into pieces.
Whenever he commanded people to stop their attackers from cannibalizing each other and
I don't know where you're getting this.
killing their people.
He causes cannibalization in the Bible.
Yeah, it's Leviticus. Oh, well, actually, a few references to that.
Yeah, Zechariah.
Okay. How does that relate to Jesus Christ's message?
No, it doesn't need to.
Well-
That's not the topic of conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking about
So Jesus Christ,
Is Jesus Christ God? Is he not the same guy?
Yeah, if Jesus Christ is the same nature as God, they're three different people, but they're all one thing.
So one God takes all the responsibility, and the other God gets all the good stuff. Or are they not connected? Are they different?
So
Or are they the same God, right? One God. Okay. So everything that happens in the Old Testament is something Jesus did.
do you want to listen? Do you want to hear what I have to say?
I'm pointing out a flaw in your reasoning, actually. Already.
Yeah. So you're just here to point out flaws in my reasoning, or you're here to listen to them?
Where appropriate, yes, because that'll bring you closer to the truth if you're open to it.
Yeah, well, I'm not really concerned with the truth because I have faith.
Why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Because
Shit.
Okay, if you're not concerned with the
I'm
truth,
here-
he's
I'm
like,
here to spread the good news to you. I'm trying.
you don't care about the truth, you just care about the message. You know what you call that? You call it
This is
extremism.
the clownery. Yeah, so the truth is Jesus Christ. I think that necessarily, I think that I just agree with the sentiment that evil is happening in the world and that there is a path out of it through the hope of Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
you already said that you don't care about that truth. If truth is Jesus Christ, then you would have just said that you don't care about Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
well, I don't care about your truth. My truth is
Well,
Jesus Christ.
I care about like the truth. Anyway, if you don't care about the truth, I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. We've had you up for long enough anyway. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for the taps. Appreciate the shares. Let's bring up the next guest.
Yeah, I feel like even as a Christian saying, I don't care about truth is crazy.
Yeah, I think that he's probably regretting he said that. I know that that's something that like I might have, if I said that, it would have been in the heat of the moment, right? Even as a Christian, I think I would have been like, damn, I really shouldn't have said that shit. Especially when I followed up by saying Jesus is the truth. You know, I think it's what a blunder. Man, JJ's not connecting, guys. All right, JJ, you request backup, but got a line at this point. We're gonna bring up this person. Hey, Bo, are you at least 18?
What's going on?
What's up? Are you at least
What's up,
18?
guys? Yeah, of course.
All right, and do you believe in God?
I feel that God exists.
You said you do?
I feel that God exists, yeah.
Which God do you feel exists?
Which? Just the one.
It's like, are you subscribed to any particular religion?
Not at all. I don't believe in religion. I feel like religion, organized religion, is
Is there any source material that you use to identify this God or talk about him?
no, nothing of the sort. Just feeling.
Just a completely bespoke God?
So you don't believe that Jesus, you don't believe like, for example, that Jesus is like the Son of God and like save people from their sins and stuff like that.
I believe we're all sons of God, sons and daughters of God.
It seems like you're trying to like not answer. Like
No, I'm answering your question directly.
no, because a direct answer would be yes and no, but it's like you're giving parables almost like Jesus would.
Then yes.
You should eat under a bush. You shouldn't be around.
Jesus would be a son of God. If all of us are sons of God, then yes, Jesus would be a son of God.
Do you believe that Jesus is God?
A portion of God, yes.
Portion of God. Okay, well, do you think that like I'm God?
Yeah, a portion, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
You have the same
Are
creative,
are you a
creative energy.
pantheist?
Not necessarily. I believe there's. So let's go. Let's just to concise everything. All is God.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
pantheism.
pantheism.
Yeah.
No, it's not
I'm not
pantheism. I don't
really.
believe that there's multiple. I believe that
That's
all.
No,
pantheism.
that's not what it is.
It's
I'm not
not separate
really. I'm not
entities.
really interested in
It's not
talking to
pantheism.
pantheists because it's just like it's like you believe in the universe. I'm gonna bring up the next
Call it
guest.
something else, God.
This is why we ask the questions, man. All right, we got Mohammed Hashim Al-Mahdi coming up. I wonder if he's Muslim. Hey, are you at least 18?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. Are you at least 18?
Excuse me?
Are you at least 18 years old?
I am more than 18.
Okay, and what's your religion?
The Ahmadi religion of peace and light.
Which one is that?
This is, we believe that religion is a man walking, talking in flesh, and he has with him the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so are
I
you
have no
Christian?
idea what religion you're talking about.
Are you Christian?
No, I'm not Christian. I told that I am. My religion name is the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. We believe all the prophets and messengers from Adam all the way to Prophet Muhammad, and after them 12 Imam, and after them 12 Mahdi.
So are you a Muslim?
Unfortunately, all the religions, in the time that their messengers was alive, they were the real, like for example, religion. And after that, they separated into sects. You know what?
So, the correct response would be either yes or no, because I don't know what you mean by what you said.
I already told that my religion name is the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. Today's Muslim,
So you're not
Muslim.
Muslim, okay. All right, fair enough. Well, we're both atheists. Why does God want us to think he's evil?
God give the creation free will the way that they want. You know what? This is not, for example, he wants to do. Give you opportunity, for example, to be in a positive way or in a negative way.
How many hurricanes per free willingness?
What?
What, like hurricanes, like things that cause unnecessary suffering, what do they have to do with free will whatsoever? What does suffering in general have any relation to free will for?
Suffering, for example, look, there are different kinds of creation. The realm of command and realm of creation, like the realm that we are living in it. That everything, for example, bound with time and location and gradually, for example, growing up. The other realm is the command realm, and in that realm, like for example, in this like realm, this is an incomplete world. You can see that everything is imperfect. You know what? And actually, God.
Muhammad, what
yeah.
question do you think you're answering?
He told about suffering. Why is it that we are suffering?
No, the question was, what's the correlation between free will and suffering that comes from something like a hurricane?
Like suffering is, for example, when somebody chooses to like way in a wrong path, it will happen to him. God give everybody to a free will to choose their own way and tells that if you, for example, select this way, you will be succeed, you will be grow up, you know what? And if you, for example, you have the will that choose not to obey me, you have the free will. And if anybody,
you get like what you're saying is that you get what you deserve. If you suffer, then like you did something to earn the suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think about when there was that earthquake in Haiti where like 200,000 people died, including babies? What do you think the babies did to earn getting killed in an earthquake like that? It must have been something pretty egregious.
Yeah. We believe the reincarnation and like everything that's happening to us right now it depends in our last or before, for example, incarnations. You know what?
What question
So
do you
you're
think you're
saying they
answering?
deserved it? No, I think he answered
You
it. He
told,
said it's because of reincarnation they actually
Oh, so
deserve
they
it
did
because
something
of
in
their
a
past
last life,
lives.
is what you're saying. Okay, so you think that
yeah,
the babies did something in a
yeah,
previous life, and maybe they got like the death sentence or something, but like
yes.
they got like they earned like 5 death sentences, so they get like pummeled as a baby for a couple of them.
For example, like karma. For example, if I kill a baby, if me myself I kill a baby, I deserve, for example, to be killed. You know what? At the same way that
Well, I don't know if I would
I
say that because like under your view, if you experience suffering, then you deserve it. So the baby would have deserved it under your view, and you would just be the force carrier of what the baby already earned.
Yeah, you'd be
because
a
this baby in for example one of their incarnation they did the same thing to the babies. You know what? Like a mature person, like for example killing baby or any other thing. This is one of the thing, not all the thing.
Mm. Wow. So this is like a really fucked up system though, if God designed it this way, to where like if you do something in one life, you are put into a situation where now you're like, let's say you're a 4-year-old and you don't even have a memory of doing whatever it was you did in your past life, but you're actually deserving of something terrible, like getting your limbs chopped off or something, or being like, um, uh, having like a merry-go-round malfunction and rip your guts out or something. I mean,
and you don't
like,
remember the next life either. So what lesson did you learn anyway?
yeah, like this is a really
Uh,
fucked up. Like I would think that the God is evil for designing a system like that.
this system, this realm that you are living in it, the creator is not God Almighty. The creator is evil himself.
Oh, this is Gnostic. I was thinking this sounded Gnostic, so the demiurge is the one doing this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yaldabaoth or Demiurge.
Oh,
Yabadoath or something like that.
Yeah, Yaldabaoth.
interesting. So, okay. And the
All
creator is
the
evil, but did the creator is the creator adjacent from other gods, or did he create all the other gods? I don't know all the things about Gnosticism.
yeah, yeah. This is very. I don't want to, like, for example, make it hard for you. I want to say easy. Like there are other realms, and this is like a virtual realm. You know what? Not a real one. That everybody confronts with their, for example,
Wait a minute. I just realized. I think we concluded the discussion because, like you said, that the creator God is evil. So, like, that's the answer to the question.
not God is evil. This the creator of this world is
Right.
evil.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, he would be the god of this world, the material world.
Yeah. So he would be. Yeah. So that's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the answer. That's a really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why does God want us to think he's evil? Well, because he is, host. Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I guess to be really specific, maybe he doesn't really want to. He's just really kind of like the Gnostic demiurge, is just kind of a fumbler and an idiot, and just isn't super good at what he's trying to do, and just accidentally lets on that he's evil.
Could be a possibly. All right, let's bring up Tammy Martin.
Actually, Gnostic lore, he kind of is just a kind of a bumbler, like really, like he just makes mistakes, and that's how you can escape it. It's like the Matrix if the Matrix was spiritual and led by kind of an idiot.
It's really cool. Hey, Tammy, you're at least 18?
No, I'm 57.
Okay, so that's, yeah. All right, so what is your religion?
I'm a Christian.
All right, well, we're atheists. Why does God want us to think he's evil?
He don't. God is. We don't know where he came from. It just says in the Bible. If you want to believe the Bible's real, I do believe it's real. That he's the beginning and the end. So sin started in heaven. The devil, when he got kicked out of heaven, that's where the sin originally started from. But we are to fear. God is not. He's the only person we are to fear because he can take the life here on earth and he can take the life in the afterlife, the soul and the body. See what
So
I'm
that
saying?
doesn't really answer my question. Like, why does he want us to think he's evil?
He don't want us to think he's evil.
Then why does he
He's
behave
God.
in ways that we would consider to be evil, knowing that that's how we would consider them?
I've asked myself that same question about the babies and about the hurricanes. That's really bothered me a lot through the years, and and the more people I ask, the people that I think has had a longer relationship with the Lord, people, that's been Christians longer than me, what they try to explain it to me is, like the babies, they're already going to heaven anyways, and everything that he don't want us to think he's evil, but there's consequences for not choosing him. You see what I'm saying?
So like,
Why should he?
because the babies are going to heaven, that feels like a silver lining to like a cup of poison or something. Like the baby's
The
getting
cutoff age for sin is 13. That's what the Bible says. Like,
it doesn't say, it doesn't really give a cutoff age, but
Not really, no.
if children are, they live to, let's say they live to 7, because I mean this is like true in some cases, there's billions of us. If a child lives to say 7, they develop an extraordinarily painful disease that slowly kills them and they die. I don't think that's necessary, right? I think that's pretty brutal and
Yes.
grotesque. And to say that it's okay that happened because they just get a guaranteed pass to heaven, it feels like that. I mean, that doesn't excuse what happened, right? They could have passed in their sleep painlessly, but God said no, they should suffer like this for no fucking reason because I'm a maniac. Then I'll take him up here to hang out with me.
I want to point out he does this in the Bible as well. He causes David's
Right,
he
yeah.
causes David's son in the Bible to suffer like this.
It wasn't even for anything the baby did either. Not that a baby would do anything, but it was for something that David did. Yeah, like that's
sometimes,
another thing. Why does God?
but it's for other people.
Why does God
it's for other people.
Can I just ask you,
It's
Tammy,
for-
why does God
Yes.
do things like generational punishment or make somebody else pay the price for someone else's sin? Like in the example that Rat Soup just brought up, in 2 Samuel, David commits a sin, and to punish David, God takes his wives and has them get raped to get David, and then he takes David's son and kills him over. Gives him a sickness that kills him over the time of a week's time. So the child not just dies but suffers, then dies to get David. I mean, this is like collateral damage and it involves people that were not otherwise involved. They're paying the price for David's sin. Why does God push punishments onto other people that don't deserve the punishment?
He don't. It says the fruits. If you my grandparents, I watched them my whole life grow up, being Christians and everything. I didn't have to ask about it. I just seen it with my own eyes played out. Like it said, you'll have a long life. You tithe, you'll be held up in the windows of heaven and bless you. I watched my grandparents walk it out, and it says the fruits, their wombs shall be blessed. That means their kids and their grandkids, but you can also put generational curses on your family, like your grandparents and your
why is
grandparents.
that a thing? Like, why is that
I don't
even in the cards? It seems like something that an all-powerful God would be able to prevent if he could, right? Like, if it's possible to prevent, I think that an all-powerful God could prevent that. But it seems like God wants to include generational punishment by design. I mean, he even says it, like, I don't know how literally you take Genesis, but because Adam and Eve ate some fruit that was off limits, he curses all of their descendants, including us, and we weren't involved in what they did. But we have now a sin nature, so now we're more prone to breaking the rules, which is gonna, in fact, it makes it so it's impossible to not break the rules, because the standard is perfection. God knows it's an impossible standard, holds us to it anyway, makes the punishment eternal, which is ridiculous. But he also says that because of their sin, they ate fruit that was off limits. Now women are going to have extra pain in childbirth, like all of them. Like, not just Eve, because Eve's the one that did the transgression, but all the women are going to have extra pain in childbirth. And not only that, but all men. And subsequently, we're learning now that it's also pretty much everybody is going to have to toil and work. We didn't have to work in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve didn't have to do that. That was a curse that he put on not just Adam, because we could have lived in the garden. We didn't do anything wrong. But God was like, Adam's guilty. That means his kids are guilty, even though they're not even born yet. And their grandkids are guilty. And all the way down, they're going to have to inherit this curse too. And he even punished snakes. Because a snake...
Make them crawl. Right.
Yeah, he made him slither on the bed, like, and eat dust. It's like, why are you even involving this animal that you put in here clearly to make them eat the fruit that was off limits. The only way the snake could even get in there is if God wanted the snake to be there. If God didn't want the snake to be there, he's all powerful. He knows about it. He sees the breach in security, if there even can possibly be such a thing, which there can't. This snake was there on purpose. That's the only thing that makes sense. So to punish the snake and to punish even those three parties is one thing, but then to punish all of the generations to follow,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
it's just evil. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's unjust and evil. Why
I
does he
don't
do
know,
that?
but I don't know. It's been nice talking to y'all. I just I'm just gonna say that everybody's got their own beliefs, but I know that everybody that believes in the Lord and puts their faith in Him, He turns everything around for the good. He can make even I've seen atheists like yourself on here that has had dreams and God showed them hell and they turned their life around for the Lord. I don't know, but we're all entitled to our opinions. But it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I mean, the fact is though, Tammy, he could make everything perfect with a snap of his fingers or even less effort than that. But he doesn't. He can turn things around for some people. Maybe he does turn things around for some people, but it feels like it's only the people who kiss his ass the most, and that's like a really unappealing
He ain't
trait.
respecter of persons. He ain't respecter of persons. He'll do it for anybody.
If I can leave with one last thing, Tam, before you get out, I'd like to say if you I don't know if you have any kids, maybe a daughter or a son, but
I do.
if you had a daughter and some young man came along and he said, "Hey, I love your daughter. I love her so much. I want her to be with me forever and ever, and I'm going to give her a palace that's going to last an eternity. So I'm going to ask her to come and be with me. But if she says no, if she says she doesn't love me, I'm going to lock her in the basement and set her on fire for eternity instead. Would you let your daughter date this young man?"
Remember, this is a free choice. She would have the free will to choose.
No.
Why would you choose your God on a lower standard than a guy who would date your daughter?
Because my daughter can't make, miracles happen. She's not God. We just have to turn everything over.
Just something to think about, Tammy. I just want you to just think about where I'm going with that little parable. You know what I mean?
Yes. But that's
All
nice
right,
to meet
Tammy.
you guys.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
nice to meet you too.
Yeah. She was nice. She wasn't really able to track with the points that we were making, though. Anyway, let's bring up the next guest. We got a line again. So next up here is
That's what I like to see.
Alex. Hey, Alex, Elise 18.
Hey,
Welcome.
what's going on? Yes, sir.
All right. And what religion are you?
I'm Christian.
All right. We're both atheists, and why does God want us to think He's evil?
He doesn't.
Then why does He behave in ways that He knows we'll perceive as evil?
Because we have a choice to make a decision on whether, that is actually evil or whether it is something we can learn from and actually grow from.
Well, I'm
good.
I'm only convinced by what convinces me, right? I don't make a decision about what I think is true. If somebody behaves in a way that I perceive to be evil, I'm gonna think that they're evil, and it's only gonna reinforce that if they actually know. Like, if I'm aware that they know that what they're doing I would perceive as evil, and they don't come over and say, "Hey, I'm only doing this because of this, and they don't clarify at all, and they don't make me understand, that means that they're allowing me to continue to think that the thing that they're doing is just grotesquely evil. And they don't care to correct me. They don't care to tell me, hey, I did this for a good reason. It's not evil for this reason or that reason. They just let me continue on thinking that it's evil. That's what God seems to do.
Okay, so then we would have to ask the question, is everything that he's doing evil?
I don't know why we'd have to ask that question. I don't think that there is such a thing as pure evil. I think you need to have some good in order for evil to exist. But I don't think that evil needs to exist for good to exist.
Okay, so that's where we kind of split and understand that in order for good to exist, there has to be. In order for hot to exist, there has to be a cold. In order for joy, there has to be pain. Like it's
So God
the
couldn't exist
dichotomy.
without Satan?
Maybe that's why he can't defeat
Well,
Satan. Like, there's an all
Because
good guy, so there necessarily has to be an all bad guy, and they're like brothers or something.
okay, so let's look at it like this: order versus chaos, right? These two things cannot exist without each other, right? So I mean, we could say God or Satan are good or evil. Let's look at it through the lens of order versus chaos. They literally cannot exist without each other, right? So we, and I believe this wholeheartedly, we are here to reconcile that dichotomy, meaning what is evil, what is good. We are here to decide that. That's
it's
why.
subjective dichotomy is the thing, though. It's these are human evaluations, orderly versus chaotic. Like one person may walk into your girlfriend may walk into your room and say, "Oh, it's such a mess in here. You can't. How do you find anything?" But you know exactly where everything's at. It's an order. You know what I mean? Like order and chaos are subjective human standards.
Right, which is why
They're not intrinsic parts of the universe.
Right, which is why we go through things in order to be able to have a better system for judgment of these things, right? It's like I said in the comments, don't touch the hot stove. How do you know the stove is hot unless you touched it and felt the fire or the burn of that, right? And so it's a cautionary measures that are put forth as far as like when you said, why does he do generational curses and stuff like that? These are cautionary measures. Don't touch the hot stove.
It's a
You get
cautionary
burned.
measure to do generational curses.
Right.
How?
Meaning, if you know that this is going to affect your child, are you more likely to do it or not do it?
I'm more likely to, well, it depends on how it affects it. If it's a negative way, I'm more likely to not do it. But
Right,
how does this
exactly.
apply to generational curses?
Because that's literally the point. If you know that this is going to affect your child in a negative way, you're going to try your best not to do that so that it doesn't apply to you.
So you're saying the best way for God to communicate moral lessons is through extreme violence committed to innocents? And that's okay because people can learn a lesson from that extreme violence?
No, touching a hot stove is not extreme violence.
But
It's
there
just
is extreme
evil.
violence.
We're not. Yeah, that was.
There is extreme violence.
Yeah, natural suffering in the world causes extreme suffering. God causes extreme suffering in the Bible. He commands the death of infants and children, things like this. So, like, all of this is like extreme suffering that God is causing that you are implying is okay because it's being used to teach other people a lesson about how to take care of what might happen to their kids.
Well, it's not necessarily that alone. It also brings about great focus. It also brings about
The suffering of other people brings about great focus to you.
Yeah, it also brings about great levels of grace and forgiveness and things like that.
Why should a lesson be taught at the expense of the well-being or even the life of innocent people?
Well, okay, for instance, if you take a shower, right, is that inherently a bad thing?
It's completely amoral.
What's the point?
Okay, the point is that hot shower is causing someone else around on the other side of the globe a very extreme level of either poverty or pain or whatever situation they're going through, right? So
we don't
is that a lesson being taught here?
We can all benefit and get better and reduce suffering together. One person's pleasure does not automatically cause another person's suffering. That's not how it works.
That's exactly how it works. There's an ancient African proverb that talks about, and that's a judgment that we're all here to make. If you make that judgment, that's fine.
Alex, are you familiar with the phrase zero-sum game?
Yes, but I'm not. You clarify for me.
So the zero-sum game is the idea that, like, in order for someone to win, there must be losers, right? Like Monopoly, for instance. You can only win in poker and Monopoly if everyone else loses, right? So some people argue about whether the world is a zero-sum game, and it's not. And we can know it's not because we've done things like, say, invent fertilizer, which allowed us to increase the world population to a huge degree. We made life better for everyone. You know what I mean? So we can do things that increase benefit to life and enjoyment of life to everybody while also reducing suffering for everybody. We know that the world is not actually a zero-sum game where you have to, avoid pleasure because it's going to cause someone else suffering.
Well, the creation of that fertilizer inherently takes what? Water, takes, some type of energy usage. Right? So there is a loss somewhere in the equilibrium, whether you talk about ecosystem on a micro level or a human level. There is a loss somewhere with everything that happens, right? If you're saying that shouldn't be, or that's an evil thing inherently, then okay, cool, that's your judgment. But
I
to
wouldn't
say
say
that,
that I wouldn't say that paying a small price for an extreme good is evil, not even in the slightest.
well, some people would, and that's what I'm saying. You're
Well, that's not
entitled to
us.
that
That's
opinion.
not us. No,
Okay.
we're more like curious as to why God would. You said you're
Great evil.
Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why God in the Bible would command atrocities like genocide, or why he would use rape or cannibalism as punishment, or why in the real world he gives people cancer or causes earthquakes,
Right.
or doesn't intervene when he sees that a child is about to get fucked by like a big sweaty guy.
Right.
And then killed
Right.
afterwards. I mean, it's like he's there, he can stop
Right.
it, he knows that he could have prevented it, not even just stop it in the act, he could have prevented it from happening. And anybody else
Right.
who's in that situation and does not act, we would call evil. And God knows this, but then he decides to act in the way that we would perceive as evil without giving any extra clarification. I can't
Okay.
see any possible way how doing these things could possibly make somebody not evil. And God would know that I'm aware of this. Like, God, he's aware that this is
Right.
the way that my brain works. He wired it to work this way. So why does
Right.
he behave in these ways and not correct me into thinking that he's good?
Well, I would hope that at some point in your life you also get to see and experience the extreme good
Well, that's
of
not
the
an
world.
answer.
Well, that is an answer.
No, I asked
If you can
why.
see extreme evil, you can also see extreme good
I
and
asked
make a
why,
judgment
and
of
you
whether
told
or
me
not.
something that you hope for.
I'm telling you why. This is why. The reason why he would allow you to see that and think that is because he is also doing extreme good. So,
How does
if you
that
can't
fall
see
as a
that,
non sequitur? Like,
the
because
reason
God
I'm
is
telling you
doing, you're
why.
saying because God is doing extreme good, that's why he
Uh-huh.
wants me to think he's evil. That doesn't follow.
No, no. If you make the conclusion that he's evil based on the extreme evil that is being done, then that means
God.
you haven't seen or paid attention to the extreme good at all.
That's
At
just
all.
untrue.
To be honest, man, like I don't really care how much extreme good God does if he's doing extreme evil. Like that nullifies any good that he could possibly ever do. Like if somebody imagine that like somebody's the perfect epitome of altruism and they're going through their life, they've healed people's sicknesses, they've regrown limbs, right, for people. They've done the impossible
Right.
for the
Yeah.
state of the good. They've healed, they've fed the hungry, they've clothed the naked. They've made the world a better place,
created
but
fertilizer.
then by night they go and they kidnap children and have their way with them. I mean, I don't care. Like what good they've done, they're evil.
Okay.
Like,
That
if I-
bad outweighs all of the good. It's that much worse than all of the good they could do.
If I were to theoretically walk up to you, kick you in the dick, and then hand you a $20 bill, it doesn't make it better that I kicked you in the dick.
That's like a $40 charge. Right?
But some people would take that. Be like, okay, yeah, he's a good guy. If I want $20, I'll just take another kick. But that's
It's okay if they consent to it. If I walk up and just kick you, you're not consenting to it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it okay. You might be happy about the $20 bills, but you would rather I just hand you a $20 bill. I didn't need to do the whole kicking thing first.
Right. That's a great point.
So like the $20 doesn't forgive the kicking. It's just a separate good thing I'm also doing. It doesn't absolve the bad thing or make it go away.
It's sort of like when Jesus in the Bible was able to heal people without even doing anything, but then he's like, I'm going to heal you by spitting on your face. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, why are you being a dick about healing this person?
Right. And so there's a greater plan and purpose for each one of these situations. And there's a reason why he did things differently in different situations, right?
And the reason is?
there's a because of the purpose and the plan. If we look into it, we
But,
can
like,
come up with why he spit on the guy,
or just for any of
or
this.
why he does things different. Right.
Like,
So
why
the
does he do
reason why he
things that
does
are-
things different
Yeah, go ahead.
is according to his purpose for that specific moment in that specific place.
You're being
Maybe it
vague.
was
I'm asking
somebody
for
who saw it.
specificity, and you're continuing to be vague. And the reason why I'm still
I'm being
convinced he's
vague because
evil.
you're not giving me the specific situation. I asked
talking
you
in
something about
circles.
spit, or
Yeah, like sure, do the spit. Like, why is he spitting
Okay.
on someone's face to heal them when he could just look at them or inhale or just like think it or will it?
right. So, and I'm just coming up with it because I've always thought about this as well. But one reason I could come up with is he needed to use something that was there as far as like the earth, right? He mixed the dirt with his spit and rubbed it on the man's face, right? So he used something that was there as far
In
as
that
earth
time,
to act.
do you remember when people would like touch
What
his
was it?
garment? They would touch his clothes, and he wouldn't even be
Right.
like addressing them, and they would just be healed. That's clearly not true.
Right.
Or when
Sometimes
he told the Roman
That's a
centurion,
great
just
example.
go home, your kid's healed.
yeah, your kid's healed. Like,
That's a
he
great
did
example.
it remotely. He did it like
Right.
telepathically.
And you know why that was? Because of the person's faith. The person that touched his garment was healed because of their faith. So maybe this person who needed the spit, they needed something extra. They didn't have
So,
the same
so
type of
Jesus
faith
wasn't
that
all
the person
powerful,
other
is what
person
you're
had.
saying.
Right.
Jesus needed to
No,
borrow
even
some of their faith
yeah.
power.
His healing ability was limited by the faith of the people. Even when he went to Jerusalem, he couldn't do as many miracles because the people didn't believe. They had little faith.
So
Yeah,
your
this
theology,
tracks.
to
This is
check
like-
off where we're at here.
This is like when you go to a mega church that's doing mass faith healings, and like no healing is actually going on, but people believe that they're going to be healed, so
Right,
everybody perceives
right.
that they're being healed. I think that's what would have been going on here. Like, heal me, please. Like, regrow my limb. It's like he's all powerful, right? If they're completely convinced, he wouldn't be able to do that if that's what's going on. But like the people who are asking for their sickness to be healed or whatever, if they believe it, then there's a placebo that's going to happen.
Right, exactly. So we're intrinsically involved in healing processes and judgment and all these different things. That's why there's such a huge dichotomy of this great evil versus this great good, because we're literally involved in it.
So just to track where your theology is, good is just as powerful as evil, and evil is just as powerful as good. God punishes infants and children in order to send a lesson to everyone else. And Jesus sometimes has to spit in the dirt and wipe it in eyes because he needs more faith power in order to heal good. Am I getting all that right so far?
I wouldn't. I'd say the only part that you kind of fell short on is that I think you said the only thing, reason why people, children or infants are killed is because God's trying to do a lesson. That's not the only reason, right? Yeah, there's lessons involved, but there's also a huge amount of faith that is involved when people get ill, right? People pray for them. People intercede. People, like literally, okay, I'll give you an example. One of my members of my church got picked up by ICE. Tomorrow we're doing a corporate fast. So we're all going to not eat anything for a whole day to intercede for him. So there's huge amounts of faith that are involved in these instances.
So it's a good thing this happened to this man because it's going to bring your community together in an act of faith? Is that
No,
what
it's
you're
not a
saying?
good thing. That's why we're
Then
fasting.
why would you bring it up? Then why would you bring it up as a defense for why bad things happen? That you're making no sense.
Because the reaction of the people is faith.
Is
It's
that
not just teaching a lesson.
is that worth it?
No, what I'm saying is that there's more reasons why these bad things happen other than just teaching a lesson.
Working you up
That's
into
my
a religious
example.
dogma is not like an excuse for this guy getting hauled off.
Yeah, like
I'm
it
not saying
seems
it's
like
an excuse.
it's like
I'm saying that there's more than one reason.
bad things happen. It seems like from this angle, so that we'll hate the fact that it happens so much that we all come together to like beg for it to change and not be that way anymore.
like
No,
turning this man's
we're
plight
okay.
into an
That's one
excuse
part of
for
it.
like turning this man's plight into an excuse for you guys to all put on a public display of piety for each other is Pharisee through and through. It's frankly,
So
it's disgusting.
okay, so
And it doesn't do
my point
anything.
what I was
Like
making,
it's not going to
the
actually
okay,
change the situation.
okay. So the point that I was making is that it's not just one reason for bad things happening. You said the only reason is for to teach someone a lesson. That's not the only reason. There's
Oh,
other
I mean, it's
reasons
also good
involved.
for church recruitment. Yeah, okay, good. Okay,
It's
I'll
not
concede that point.
recruitment. It's faith. It's a display of faith. If somebody prays for a baby that gets cancer,
It's
they're showing
extremist.
faith.
Not only for tests, you're saying, not only for tests, but also to reinforce people's faith.
Right, to build faith.
And
Right,
that's
exactly. So if somebody
so that
prays,
those ends justify the means in any situation.
God needs to hurt
no,
people in order for
it
people to
also
believe in Him. Yeah, see, that makes
and it
sense.
also teaches grace and forgiveness. For instance,
Who we
there's a
forgive? Are we
missionary
forgiving
over.
God?
For instance, there was a missionary over in the Middle East. They were, as a doctor and his wife, they were helping people. They were giving people medicine. Someone shot the doctor, the husband. The wife, instead of getting angry and lashing out at these people, forgave them, continued the mission, and showed grace to everybody there. And so this is a what we call building grace, building forgiveness, building the attitude of humility, right? And so all these things kind of work together with bad things
What
that
came
happen.
of her? What came of her reacting incorrectly to that situation?
Many people came to the faith. They were just astounded by the fact that she was so gracious to them and kept the ministry and stayed there and forgave
That
the
was
guy
like
that
the
Someone
purpose.
suffered, and it was good for recruitment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. God saw that, like, if I allow the husband to get shot, then I'll get more followers who can kiss my ass. That's definitely worth it. I'll kill one
well,
off.
it could have
Like,
went the other way.
I'll pay a penny to get a
Didn't have
buck.
to go that way. No, it didn't have to go that
Well,
way.
God
It
knew it was
went
gonna
that way
work out
because
that way, so it had to.
okay, well, there's other situations that it doesn't work out that way, correct?
No.
Yeah, there are millions of situations where people get shot
No, I
in the
mean, like,
world,
okay,
and
yeah,
then
I
they
mean,
go
like,
and they
there's
take vengeance.
many
Yeah,
situations.
so
I'm talking about that specific situation.
right, but what I'm saying is that if God knew that was going to happen that way, there are other situations that God knew was going to happen the other way, right? So how do you say, okay, well, God is
But
evil because
in
he's
this
doing this
situation,
one?
in this situation
Okay.
of the example you brought up, the purpose was for recruitment. Like the ultimate ends that justify the means of him getting shot was, I'll get more toe lickers. I'll get more people who can
Well,
worship me.
I wouldn't say that. I would say teaching how grace is shown, how humility is displayed, how forgiveness is actually shown.
Right.
It's a teaching
And
moment.
so, okay, so he got shot, and it's a good thing that there was no justice involved. It's okay that there was no justice involved because he gets more people to worship him. I mean, this is kind of like this reminds me of the gospel
What about
message.
learning forgiveness?
The-
What about
the-
learning forgiveness?
learning for, who's like sleeping? Ratsup, you awake?
Yeah, I'm awake. I'm muted too.
Someone is like snoring or something. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
that's my 4-year-old.
oh, okay. Oh, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. That's cute. So anyway, there is the gospel message, right? What you're talking about reminds me of that, where Jesus, an innocent person, according to like the Christian canon, he is brutalized and killed, has his blood spilled because God wanted to like gaslight people into worshiping him. Like, you're all going to go to hell unless I kill an innocent person. Now, since I killed this innocent person, you can get away with any crime you commit, so long as you are sincere when you apologize to me. So there's no motivation to like really truly stop doing evil. It doesn't matter, like God doesn't care if you do evil, so long as in the end you like apologize and mean it and like pledge your allegiance to him and kiss his ass. That's ultimately what matters to God the most, is that you kiss his ass all night. And he's okay with letting murderers off the hook, child abusers off the hook. He doesn't really give a shit because he's already killed an innocent person in a brutal fashion, as if that has anything to do with it. This is not forgiveness. This is injustice, and this is sadistic as fuck.
What about learning selflessness? Can you learn selflessness from that situation?
I don't think so.
I think you can learn selflessness.
Okay.
Even if you could or someone else could, you can learn selflessness from other situations. Like have you ever seen like a children's show like Arthur or Bluey or something? Characters in those learn selflessness without having to go through Vietnam. You know what I mean? Arthur can learn selflessness when he and his sisters scrape his knee and he takes care of his sisters first. We don't need to have horrible, awful, gratuitous levels of suffering in order to teach lessons. We can admit that maybe a certain amount of suffering, there are certain levels of suffering that make you a more virtuous, better person. But there is absolutely suffering that is instead traumatic or fatal or permanently ruins lives with PTSD or mental aftershocks. There's suffering in the world that exists beyond what is beneficial to anybody. And so all of these things, you've already kind of admitted that you don't believe your God is all powerful. So maybe this is the reason why you think your God isn't necessarily. Well, you kind of did. You said you just needed faith, and you said evil is as strong as good. Maybe I should ask this then. Could God use something other than suffering to teach all the lessons that He wants humanity to learn? Can God use other methods to communicate His will to us without causing suffering?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so then if He chooses to do it anyway, using suffering, that is Him choosing to cause unnecessary suffering. That means it is God's will that unnecessary suffering occurs.
No, I wouldn't say that it's unnecessary.
You agree with the premises. That's how it works.
Every situation is different. Every situation necessitates a different requirement, just like in chemistry.
Do you think that gratuitous suffering is necessary? Do you think that gratuitous suffering is necessary for God to teach us all the lessons that He wants us to learn, or is God able to teach us all the lessons He wants us to learn without gratuitous suffering?
Necessity depends on two things: one, the outcome; two, the ingredients.
Well, here's the issue: is I already granted that some suffering is necessary, so there is suffering beyond what is necessary, and you admitted that there is suffering beyond what is necessary as well. So, because God chooses to allow suffering beyond what is necessary,
I never admitted that. I admitted that He can do stuff without suffering. I never admitted.
So do you think all suffering is necessary? Do you think all suffering is necessary?
I believe every situation that happens is necessary because that situation.
Sounds like a dodge. Do you believe all suffering is necessary?
Do I believe all suffering is necessary?
Yep.
Yes. If a thing happens, it was necessary.
So all things that happen are necessary. So you're a determinist? You don't believe in free will?
Necessitarian. Yeah.
So you don't believe in free will?
I'm kind of on the fence.
God just does what He wants.
It's incompatible with what you just expressed.
How?
Because if everything is necessary, that means it could be no other way, which means God chose it to be this way if God is the ultimate mover. So God chose every action, and we all have no capacity to do anything other than what was chosen by God. So all suffering is because God planned for it. Everyone who goes to hell was made for hell. Everything like that. There's no choice in the matter whatsoever, and free will is a pure illusion, if that is true.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what you actually believe. I think you blundered it there.
I think, like I said, I'm on the fence about it, but I think you're right. You're pretty close to exactly what I believe. But Proverbs 24 does say that God orders the steps.
What you believe is insane.
If suffering is necessary, then that just means that God is not all powerful, because then he could have done something else. But the only thing that He could have done is instantiate a situation where there is all this gratuitous suffering. If all things are necessary, then it couldn't have been any other way. That means that God could not have failed to instantiate those circumstances, which means He's not all powerful.
That's a good point.
I think that's a fallacious argument because
What's the
you
issue
can't
with it?
assume that someone is not all powerful just because this thing exists.
Could
Right?
God have
Like,
could God have made the state of affairs any other way than how it is now?
yeah, he could do
Then it's not
whatever he
necessary.
likes.
It's either necessary or it's not. If he could do something else, then it's not necessary. If he couldn't do it any other way, then it is necessary.
It's just a product of what the word necessary means in this context.
Right. It's a semantical argument, but at the end of the day, being all powerful or not, right? There's a verse in Isaiah 5:45-7 said, "I create evil." Right. So God created evil, right, for a reason. What was the reason? Right. So at the end of the day,
Well, that's kind of what we're asking you. Why does God want us to think he's evil? Why is he creating evil?
because it was necessary.
Then he couldn't have done anything else?
Necessary for us to learn, necessary for us to experience it, right?
So
This
he's
is everything that
he's not powerful enough to get us to learn lessons without the suffering.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
he's not.
Yeah.
He is powerful enough to get us to learn lessons through suffering, through evil.
But not without suffering is the point. Like he's incapable of teaching us these lessons without gratuitous suffering.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he is powerful enough to help us to learn lessons and see things, even though there's this great evil.
Through what you're saying, that
great evil.
to
Alex, I
avoid.
think so. It's kind of hard to pin you down to one thing because you're flip flopping a lot, and we've had you up here for a while. I'm gonna move on to the next guest, but thank you for coming up. You can come back again tomorrow if you like. Yeah, he's a slippery one.
Yeah.
Can't really commit to one idea here.
Super unique idea of God, too. Really interesting ideas.
An ever-changing one. Hey, okay, it's Preacher 1980. Are you at least 18?
I'm 45.
All right, and what religion?
I'm Christian.
All right, well, why does God want us to think he's evil?
God doesn't want us to think he's evil. God wants us to experience love, hope, faith, kindness. It's actually the ruler of this world that God banished from the kingdom of heaven to come and rule the world that wants us to think that God is evil. No human being is born evil. Humans are given the...
Why would he put such a nasty thing in the world like that?
Yeah, to rule the world, no less.
Isn't that kind of like letting a child predator loose in elementary school?
It's
Giving
like
him the
the
principle.
old saying. It's like the old saying goes: one bad apple spoils the bunch. And so, if you have a thing of angels in heaven worshiping and praising, or let's put it like this: you said you should have kids. Say you have numerous kids, 5 or 6 kids in your house. All your kids listen, respect, and obey you as a parent, except one kid. That one kid could actually influence 2 or 3 of the other kids to follow their example, and before you know it, you basically have a mutiny in your household, which is why God had to do what he do by banishing
So
Lucifer
God was like
out of heaven.
threatened by Lucifer. Like he thought that maybe Lucifer could overthrow God.
Exactly.
Wow. So you don't believe in an all-powerful God then, or an all-knowing?
Oh no, I believe in an all-powerful God. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Then you don't believe in an
I
all-knowing
believe,
God.
I believe in an all-powerful, all-seeing, all-knowing. He's
Well,
he's
then you believe
omnipresent,
you believe in a contradiction then, because if he thought that Lucifer could, potentially overthrow him, then he would be wrong. Lucifer can't because God's all powerful. The only way that could possibly happen is if God allowed that to happen.
Lucifer. I wouldn't say that he thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My apologies.
You did.
I don't like being rude like that. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead and finish, and then I will.
I was saying that, like, if God is all powerful, he can't be overthrown. He's got too much power. Like, you know what I mean? We cannot beat him. Lucifer can't beat him. He can't create someone that's so powerful that he can't overcome them. Like that's illogical, right? So if he's all powerful, nothing can stop him. Nothing can overthrow him. So he's got nothing to worry about. If he thought that Lucifer could have done that, then he would have been wrong. He doesn't realize that he's all powerful. He doesn't know that Lucifer is incapable of stopping him or overthrowing him, right? But if he's all powerful and he knows that Lucifer is not a threat to him, then like why is he throwing him out under the guise that he's
It
threatened by him? It's
wasn't
just not
that.
true.
It
He's not
wasn't
threatened by
really that.
anybody or anything.
It wasn't really that God was threatened by Lucifer. It's the fact that
Just what you said
Lucifer
earlier.
was taking. Yeah, and I'm taking that back because I understand what you're saying. It's not that God was threatened by Lucifer taking over the throne. What it was is God was upset with Lucifer because he was turning other people against him. God wants us to love him, he wants us to respect him, and he wants to be that father figure for us that he created us for.
So I gotta ask then, is God a worse communicator or less charismatic than Satan? Is he less able to convince and use his words and dialogue to make people like make angels see reason? Like I mean, like it just doesn't. Why does this God have to turn to violence and force so often?
God
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
use violence and force.
Well, he forces Satan out of heaven, is what you're saying. This is how it all starts, right?
Yeah, he forced him out of heaven
Right.
because
So why couldn't
he
he
would,
instead resolve
wouldn't
Satan to
want
himself? Like, isn't it, why couldn't he communicate? If he's the great reconciler, why did he fail to reconcile at this, the key moment of all creation?
he probably did try to communicate. He probably tried to stop it in love.
So he
And
But
Satan
failed.
was better at communicating. He was more convincing, more charismatic.
no, what he did is he wanted to take that away from what he created. If you create something and it's turned against you, you don't want it there with you. You want to keep it away. That way your other creations don't adhere to or listen to what that thing has to say.
But these aren't just his creations; these are his children, right? Like he's making people here. He knows that, like presumably angels, Satan are people to at least some degree, and so he's making children, and so when these children don't do what he wants, you don't scrap a child and make another one and restart. You try to reconcile with that child, and humans are consistently able to do this from pretty heinous circumstances when we can actually hurt each other, when we can like actually cause each other real harm, whereas God, who cannot be caused any harm whatsoever, seems unable to reconcile with what he calls his proudest creation in some parts of the Bible, no?
Yeah, of course. And
So he loves Satan, but
God
is
does-
somehow unable to use anything other than force to resolve it. That implies that God is either unable to be this great reconciler or simply chose not to be, and instead put evil on the earth on purpose. It can't really be, it has to be one or the other.
like evil. You don't want somebody bad in front of you, no matter what they do. The Bible even speaks about this. I don't know why nobody that's spoken to you in the past few people have not even mentioned the Bible. They've all went about their own understanding, which the Bible tells us not to do. If we want to have discussions like we're having right now, you have to lean on the Word and not on your own understanding.
Well, one
So
person
what
did bring up
God-
the Bible, and they brought up Isaiah 45:7, where it says God creates evil.
I have never read that. I'll have to look into that because if it says that, then there's definitely a reason behind it. One thing that I have seen is in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, the Bible tells us to be sober and vigilant because the adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And so God placed him here on earth. You have to look at the story of Job if you really want to get an understanding of the love that God not only has for us, but for the devil. Nobody likes to hear the story of Job because it points out what God truly allows to happen. He doesn't.
Yeah. The
He
story of
doesn't
Job is
allow
like
it.
one of the best examples to show that God is a petty evil fuck. He
God's not
puts
the one that did to Job.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
absolutely is.
No,
He caused down the
Yeah.
fire on his children.
no,
Yeah, and it was
God
his
had
idea. This whole thing started
no, it
from
wasn't.
God bringing up Job to Satan the
Oh, you guys
accuser.
got it completely wrong. You guys got it completely wrong. You need to reread the story of Job.
Let's read it
All right.
together, shall
Let's
we?
do it. Let's do it right now. Yeah.
What happened is when God,
We're about to read what happens. We're going to look at it. I promise you, preacher.
Are you using
Like,
like
if,
me, Rat Soup? I got.
I use
the good boy.
RSVP,
yeah, so when
and
God,
RSVUE.
Yo, same.
when God invited the host of them, or the host of angels into his court, he was asked by Satan, who is still an angel.
Where are
He's
you
not
reading?
No, he looks at Satan and he goes, "Hey, check out my dude Job. It's God's idea."
Yeah.
Yeah, he
One
said,
day, I'm going to
because
start in chapter 2. I'm
what
going to
did
start in
it-
chapter
what
2
did-
here. Hang on, I'm trying
Yeah,
to read
go
the
ahead.
word of God.
Go ahead.
One day the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, otherwise known as Satan, also came among them to present himself before the Lord. Though I guess at this point he would have been banished or something, but whatever. The Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" The accuser answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job?" Whoa, hang on a second. So God is bringing up Job to the accuser. So he's
Because
starting
of
this.
his faith.
Now God is all knowing, so he knows the ramifications of this, but let's just continue reading. "There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still persists in his integrity, although you have incited me against him to destroy him for no reason." Oh, hang on. So this is like the second time, I think. For no reason.
Yeah, he's already allowed Satan to test him. You see, God isn't going to be the tester. God is even
Yeah, this is the
one.
second time. I was trying to start it the first time that he does something to Job.
Yeah, but God's not the one that
Oh,
did.
I needed to start in verse 6. That's my bad. Sorry, everybody. One day the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord. It's just like the same language, so it's easy to mistake them. The Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" The accuser answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil." Then the accuser answered the Lord, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a fence around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the works of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse your face." So Jesus, or rather God here, is saying Job is blameless. So Job has like never sinned. So if somebody does not deserve this treatment that follows in this book, it would be Job. Then Satan says, "It's because you're being a good parent and you're taking care of him like a good parent should. But what you should do is strike him." And God says basically, "Yeah, okay, that sounds reasonable." I mean, I can keep reading though if you want to hear it how he says that.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the Bible. I'm actually a preacher. It's not just a name. I'm actually a preacher. That's why I'm enjoying this conversation that I'm having with gentlemen, and I hope we could learn something from each other today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a parent and you're protecting your child, and you got your hand over him, and his friend come over and says, "Hey, can he go with me to a party?" And at first you're like, "No, I don't really want to let him go." But then you're like, "You know what? I'm going to let him go to that party because he needs to go out and he needs to experience something." And him and his friend go to that party, and say your child gets killed at that party. Would it be your fault?
It would be.
This
It would
analogy
be
doesn't
my.
work for a couple of reasons
Yeah,
here.
it does. Yeah, like if I knew for a fact, if I was omniscient like God's supposed to be, that if he goes to this party, he will die at that party. It would be evil for me to allow him to go. Right? I would tell him like, "Hey, you know how I'm omniscient, well, I know that if you go to that party, you're gonna die. So let's just not do that. And he would probably be like, whoa, it's a good thing you're like that, so Raven. Let's just not do that then. We'll do
And to
something
make this
else.
to make this an even better analogy, it would be like you are talking to your own friend, Satan, who is just coming down from the field, and you're like, "Hey, check out my dude here, my dude, my dude Loaves, my son. Yeah, check out my son. He's such a good son. He loves me so much." And then your friend's like, "He only loves you because you keep him at home." I'll tell you what. Let me go and let me take him outside and fuck him up. Let me just kick his shit in, and I bet he won't love you so much. I bet he won't think you're such a good dad after that. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and take him outside and curb stomp him real quick, and let me know how it goes.
Well, this is it's almost like that rat soup. It's like that later. First, he's like, whoa, don't you touch my son. Fuck up his kids.
Right.
Fuck up his
You
kids.
can touch my grandsons though.
Drop a roof on my grandchildren, and that'll prove to you, though I don't need to prove anything to you.
Am I crazy, or is it not God Himself who calls down the fire on the house that burns all of Job's kids alive?
Like, whoa.
No, actually, God wasn't the one that did it. God allowed Satan to do it. God didn't touch him. God didn't allow.
Yeah.
God
Well, if
himself-
I
God
if
himself
I
didn't
allow
do it.
if I allow a hitman to take out one of my family members, am I just off the hook?
What you guys are saying though is that God Himself did it. God Himself did not do it. So what you're trying to say?
How many
what you're saying-
people did
what you're trying to
Hitler
tell-
personally kill?
Very, very, very little. If
Right,
any.
but he's responsible for the entire atrocity.
Right, but check it out. God allowed Satan to test Job because of his faith, knowing that Job wasn't gonna curse him or turn away from him.
Then it was
You see?
pointless. Then it was all that it
No,
did
it
was
wasn't.
instantiate suffering for no reason. He didn't need to go through the suffering for him to not waver.
No,
He's
it-
trying to make a point to Satan. He wants to prove it to Satan, but he could also beam the knowledge into Satan's mind and prove him wrong.
Yeah, Jesus didn't have to go through the suffering for us, but He chose to go through the suffering to bring us closer to God through faith. Through our faith through Him, we're able
All
to
that
come
that
closer.
does, this is a major subject change, by the way, but all that the Jesus story does with him, he didn't need to go through the suffering for God to forgive us, but he did go through the suffering. It just is like to bring us closer to God. It makes me further away from God because God is clearly bloodthirsty because he's convincing a whole bunch of people that bloodshed is actually necessary to atone for something like stealing a candy bar or like wearing mixed fabrics or having sex before you're married.
Do you really understand why the blood had to be shed? It also happened back in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
reason
enlighten
for
me.
that-
Why does blood need to be the price to pay for arbitrary forgiveness?
Because when God created man and then He created woman, they were living peacefully in the garden. Satan intervened and caused them to sin, caused them to not listen to what God had to say. So when God came down into the garden and confronted them and realized that their eyes had been opened and they now understood sin, the lamb that He took in the garden and shed the blood atoned for Adam and Eve's sin there in
Why?
the garden.
Why did the lamb's blood atone for the sin? Why did that need to happen?
That's what was needed in order, because
So
when
God is
you-
incapable of forgiving without the blood of the innocent, is what you're saying.
No, the blood of the innocent was actually needed in order to atone for the sin that was created.
Right.
Because
So
Who's setting these rules?
Is God bound by these? Like, is he like, I wish I could forgive you, I'm just not powerful enough? Or is he like, I could totally forgive you, but I really want to pretend like I can't unless I kill something innocent. This will give me an excuse to kill something innocent. Which one is
no,
it?
it's nothing like that, my guy.
It's one or the other, man.
No, God wants us to atone. Wanted us, I can't say wants us because, again, Jesus Christ came and paid for that atonement. In the Old Testament, the Jews had to go and they had to atone for sins. Blood lettings with doves, bulls,
Why is it
lambs.
blood? That's the point. Like,
Because
why does
of-
it need to be the blood of the
Because the
innocent?
blood that was spilled in the garden.
Yeah, but
You
like,
see, the
why
blood-
did that blood in the garden need to be spilled? Like, why did God say that
Because you're,
this is
because
what's
you
necessary to atone for sin? Innocence has to die. Like, why did he say that?
because the sin that was committed in the garden brought death. It brought death through the birth of sin. If a woman gives
By
birth,
design.
it gives birth
God was the
to
one
a
who
boy.
chose how all of this worked. Like, this isn't like a surprise to God. This isn't. This is all optional. Is the point? Like, God didn't have to do any of this. He just thought it sounded fun. Like, if your God is all powerful, every bit of this was just cuz. It's just because he felt like it. He didn't have to slaughter a lamb. He could have made leather sprout out of the ground. He made a whole person sprout out of the ground like a couple of days before this, right? Like,
But sin was born, is what I'm trying to say. The sin of the world was born that day through man and woman, just like
so wait, was Satan already evil at this time or no?
Satan had already been banished from heaven. Yes.
Oh, okay. So did Satan sin, or how does that work?
Satan sinned against God by turning.
Okay, so sin was in heaven first.
I really want to
That's
shine a
why
spotlight
sin-
though on this blood of the innocent thing, because this is something that you've agreed to a few times just now. A lot of times people will push back and say it's not the blood of the innocent, but so you at least agree that the innocents do need to have their blood spilled in order for someone else's sin to be atoned for. But now whenever we
humans. It was
whatever.
innocent.
Well,
It was
is Jesus not human? I mean, Jesus
because
Jesus is human.
Yeah, Jesus is human. I agree.
Yeah.
And
So
Jesus knew what he had to do. Jesus was
well,
God in the flesh, come down to earth.
regardless,
God,
it's either
God
the blood of
created
an innocent animal or it's the blood of an innocent human being Jesus, right? The blood of
right,
the
and
innocent
God,
is what atones for it, because we're like supposed to be all guilty, right? So like it can't be us. We're like disgusting to God necessarily just for being born here. But like Jesus is supposed to be perfect, so he's the perfect victim to like execute so that we can all get off the hook. So now,
you can't really call him a victim because he
well,
knowingly
yeah,
willed.
he didn't really
No,
have a
he
choice.
knowingly,
But I want to
no,
get
he
through my
didn't have a
point
choice.
here. I want to get through my
But
point here,
Jesus did have a
preacher. I want to get through the point, okay?
choice.
So like,
Go ahead.
so the fact that the blood of the innocent is necessary is on its face an injustice. If somebody commits a crime, we would never ever ever say that someone else could pay the penalty unless it's something like monetary. Like if you stole something, someone else could maybe pay for what you stole and whatever other fine that you have. But if you let's say you earned the death penalty because you like were a serial killer, for instance, nobody could possibly say, why don't we kill this innocent person over here and that'll make everything square? That is a major injustice. No, because the innocent
But
don't
you're
deserve it.
looking at
The innocent are
it all
taking the
off.
punishment. I'm still talking. The innocent are taking the punishment, and this is a punishment that they necessarily do not deserve because they are innocent. So when the innocent get punished, a punishment they don't deserve, that is by definition injustice, which is evil.
Yeah, it's an injustice if the people that are dying were innocent. We're not innocent. We
Were the
are
animals innocent?
the animals were the animals were innocent.
Was Jesus
The animals,
innocent?
Jesus was completely innocent. He
Yeah,
was the
so
only man
it
who no
has to
sin.
be the blood of the innocent. So it's not even like somebody who might have maybe
Yeah,
deserved
you're
to
not
take on a
you're not
punishment
letting
in some way. This is like
you're not letting
somebody is
yeah,
required who is absolutely undeserving of punishment to receive the
you're not letting
punishment.
me finish. You're not letting me finish what I
Well,
was
because you
saying.
didn't let me finish, so I'm just like,
I did let you
I'm just like
finish.
doing the same thing you're doing.
No,
I thought that
sir.
was like the kind of conversation you wanted to have, where like we interrupt each other and are
I
obnoxious.
let you finish, my guy. I let you finish, my guy, and then I
When?
started answering.
Tomorrow? This
Just
hasn't
now.
happened yet.
Oh, just now, I just let you finish. And then
Unfortunately, you decided he was finished before he did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
no, he stopped talking and he got quiet, so I took that as he was finished. So, Jesus atoned for our sins willingly when he wasn't forced to do it and he wasn't made to do it. He willingly and knowingly knew what was needed to atone for the sins of the world, and he took himself to do that.
missing the point entirely. You're speaking to something that is completely irrelevant. The point is that he was innocent and took the punishment he did not deserve. That is injustice, regardless of whether he chose to do it. That is besides the point. Whether he chose to do it, it's still unjust, and if he did not choose to do it, it's still unjust. The fact that an innocent person is being punished for a crime they did not commit, receiving a punishment they did not deserve, that is injustice. And this is the this is the unjust. Wait, hang on. Let me interrupt the interruption. So this is like the unjust system that God, a perfect, just God, has instantiated into the fabric of our whole existence. I think that's insane.
No, it's. I completely agree about the innocent person. If they go and they're standing in the store and somebody gets shot, and because they were in the store and the dude got away, and they're the one that's standing there freaking out, if they get arrested and tried and convicted of it, that's definitely injustice.
So why is this different?
Jesus having to suffer on the cross. He didn't have to suffer on the cross. He made the choice. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when he was praying, he told them.
That means he took suffering for literally no reason. If it wasn't necessary for us to receive forgiveness, if it wasn't necessary for us to be saved from sin, then it's completely arbitrary, and he's just like got a torture kink or something.
No, that's because Jesus loved the world so much that he was willing to lay down his perfect blood to atone for our sin.
The thing is the element of choice doesn't make it more just. It's like if there's someone who has been killed, right? And they're trying to figure out who did it, and this guy comes forward, he's like, hey, listen, I didn't do it, but I'm going to admit that I did it. I'm going to plead guilty that I caused the murder of this person, because I know that if someone is convicted of this, they are going to get the death penalty, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna admit that I killed this person, even though I didn't. Is justice served to the person who got killed if you take this person and punish them instead of trying to find the person who in fact did the murder?
No, but that's the difference between.
So the element of the point I'm illustrating with this is the element of choice. Jesus choosing to do this is completely irrelevant to making it more or less just.
How is it irrelevant?
Because choice doesn't impact whether this is just or not. Justice is entirely based on whether the punishment is earned for the crime. So an innocent person can never be justly punished for a crime they didn't commit. That's just the definition of justice.
Right.
Their element of choice does not play into it whatsoever.
Again, right now, I gotta because I have to get to bed. I gotta be up early. Sorry, it's gonna be 12:30. But I would definitely like to speak with you guys again. I like good conversations like this. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys find what you're looking for. God bless you, and y'all have a good day.
All right, good night, preacher. Get your rest. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the 18,000. We're really close to 20,000. We can get to 20,000 likes really easy. If you guys aren't already following Rat Soup, make sure you do that. I'm going to bring up the next guest here. This is, I don't know how to pronounce that. Hey, how do I pronounce your name?
Selena. It's spelled characters because I like it.
Selena.
I can see it now that you said it.
I see it. I was like Lynn at M. Maybe it's like Linum, and then what's this shit at the beginning? Yeah. So Selena. All right. Are you at least 18?
Yes. 33.
Okay. What religion?
I follow Jesus and Mary. I find the arbitrary titles provided by the church to be a little confusing, being that it is quite contradictory depending on what building you go into. And I'm also a terrible debater, so please go easy on me. And I'm not the most well-versed Christianly, but I've been raised in the Bible and I do quite a lot. I know a bit, so...
Fair enough. So why does God want us to think he's evil?
I'm only going to approach this from my perspective because I can't speak for the whole world, and I've sat here for a minute and a lot of people try to take on assumptions for the whole world, and I can't do that. Like, most of the questions you guys have been addressing are all valid questions that I myself have stood and been like, excuse me, what the F, you know. But so why does God want me to think that he's evil? God doesn't, but gosh dang it, does Satan really go after it for me personally. I have to say it that way. I suffer with mental illnesses. If anybody bothers to check out my TikTok account, my story's on there. You know, have a gander. I am currently in a custody agreement, guardianship agreement with my abuser. I've literally been, Job is my favorite story in the Bible. And the only reason Job, excuse me, thank you. It's my favorite story in the Bible, but I only jumped on because you were talking about generational curses. And that is me.
Sure.
Like long.
So why does God dish out generational curses knowing that the subsequent generations are entirely undeserving of the punishment?
Because in some cases, as again, in mine, they are deserving of that punishment, but they chose to continue to do things that are straight out the Bible as what I was raised as sin. So that got past me to become the cycle breaker.
Yeah, but like, why is this a thing that can be put onto other people who like the person would have not committed the sin? The generational curse is saying because you did one thing wrong or did something wrong, we're going to not only punish you, we're going to punish your children and their children and their children. Just because? Or is there a good reason?
Again, coming from personal, I would say in my case it was a good thing. My suffering was a good thing. Somebody was mentioning earlier about how like the father, you know, God being the father, and well, if you had a kid, okay, well, I mean, I know I picked up my kid and slapped his butt as hard as I possibly could when he ran into the road, and it really hurt, and he cried for 4 days, but that was a necessary pain. So for me, my pain was incredibly necessary to learn how to stop self-hating.
Right. Well, maybe you could have thought that this was necessary to save the life of your kid. But if God is able to get points across without gratuitous suffering, I mean, he's all powerful. I imagine he'd be able to do that. Then if he's all good, then that's what he would do. So if he's all powerful and he can get us to learn and how to live appropriately and be safe and prosperous without the possibility of gratuitous suffering, then the existence of gratuitous suffering is unnecessary, and God is allowing it or even causing it for some other potentially nefarious purpose.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I want to be extremely respectful of your mental health around this situation, but I want to suggest that if we can be called upon by God to deal with others in a way that reduces their suffering and increases their ability and enjoyment to live life, I think we should hold God to a higher standard than ourselves, not a lower one. And I don't think anyone deserves suffering, including and especially you. And I think that mindset of you deserving suffering is very harmful to you and dangerous to continue thinking of. I don't think I have much more I'm wanting to contribute with this, but I do want you to really consider and think about the idea that maybe you don't deserve to suffer, because I really don't think you do, and it makes me genuinely sad to hear someone who thinks that they are suffering because it's something they've earned. Because I've never seen a situation where that's true.
That's not the full basis. I don't believe that any human deserves suffering, but I believe some of us are so gosh darn stubborn that we really need a big kick in the butt. Like, again, me personally, I've struggled with a lot of words that I can't say in life, and I will respect that. But a lot of that came from the people that raised me, the quote-unquote generational curse. A lot of that was things that they taught me to believe about myself, to believe about the world, to believe about men, women, strangers, how to interact with people. And I had to physically have my life destroyed, move to another state to learn partially what I'm worth. It wasn't really until I sat down and got back into, for me personally, the book helps. It does something to my placebo, to my energies. Just point blank. I mean, I don't think a lot of people like to just say it, but the Bible is a placebo, if you really think about it. just reading it can produce for some people positive emotions. And so, no, I don't believe I deserve to suffer. I'm sorry that when we don't know somebody too long, sometimes bluntness can come off.
Made it sound
You know,
like,
but-
well, if not you deserve to suffer, then it seems like maybe it's necessary for your personal development. Is that kind of where you're coming from?
Bingo. And I hate saying that. I really do.
Yeah, so now this is just a different issue. It's still an issue though. If you necessarily must suffer in order for your personal development, there's a couple of possibilities here. Either one, God is not all powerful, and this is the only way that he could get you to like being who you are. Or two, God could have gotten you to where you are without the suffering that you endured, but for some other reason, he decided that you should endure unnecessary suffering, because if that's the case, then it would not be necessary. If it's necessary, God's hands are tied. Unless God is like the one that's making it necessary. Like, I'm going to decide to make suffering necessary. But if that's the case, then it's not even ultimately necessary because it's on his whim.
Honest, and I agree with both of you. And truly, in my case, I believe, in my case only, God's hands were tied because he saw my grandfather and the abuse go down to my mother, go to my aunt, and to me. And now I'm the one with the TikTok page talking about the family secrets. I do believe, in my case, God's hands were unfortunately tied. And
You don't
it's
believe-
almost a...
You don't believe
Sorry.
you don't believe in an all-powerful God who can step in and stop abuse.
Oh, no, I do. I do, though. I do.
But
I
his
do,
hands are
though.
tied.
His hands were tied in my case.
Then he's not all-powerful. He's not capable of stepping in. He lacks that ability. From what
Just
you
because
said.
he didn't remove my abuse doesn't mean that he didn't send 7 cars in the middle of nowhere one time when I really needed help and I actually asked for it. That's my big story for why I come back. Truly. I had a paranormal, supernatural experience with God, and so therefore I kind of stand on that. I imagine that situation a lot. And that's just me. I see pattern recognition, numbers. If I may, I'm happy to share that story. I just don't want to fill up with a random story, you know.
It sounds like people helped you.
Yeah.
They did, but God sends people.
People
God
also
didn't
send
send anyone. People do also send people, but God works through doctors too.
I think God seems to only work through means that could have another natural explanation. Like, he's never going to behave in a way where it's demonstrably God and has to only be God. Like, if we have a natural world where people are actually the only agent that did this, they set them, like they set themselves or someone else sent them or whatever, and God wasn't involved, that's totally possible. But if God wanted to get involved, he could have gotten involved without people, or he could have gotten involved with people sooner. He could have done a litany of things, but he allowed it to progress to the point that it got to. Then he sent people, making it look like he's not able to intervene himself or get off the couch.
There is a scripture, and I hate going, there's a scripture, because I don't know scriptures off the top of my head, minus like 2. So you guys would probably know better than I would. But there is a scripture somewhere that talks about, that said left the world. He left the world. And another point that I have for my own self is I'm a 3D being. I'm not meant to understand the 5D.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, to the he loved the world, you're talking about John 3:16. I mean, I think that's just like, actions speak louder than words. God is portrayed as doing horrendously evil things all throughout the Bible. The world that we have is not compatible with triomny God. To say that he's loving is just like a meaningless label to slap on there, I think. But to say that you don't understand the 5D, right? I mean, I don't either, and that's fine. What we do have is the reasoning skills that God would have given us. And if he gave us our moral intuition and our capacity to do critical thinking and come to conclusions on a rational basis, then he would have behaved in a way that he knows would lead us to the logical conclusion that he is evil, and he wouldn't care to correct us. It seems like the only people who don't see this are the people who are too afraid to see this because they don't like what would happen to them if they considered that thought all the way through. Since they already believe in God, God's holding their mind hostage. They can't think anything bad about God. It's blasphemy, right? It's like a mockery. God will torture you forever if you look at him sideways. You've gotta have all your boxes checked. You've gotta put him at the center or the forefront, however you want to look at it. He has to be the most important thing. The hierarchy that I'm continuously told, and this is what I used to believe, is that it's God, then it's your family, then it's your friends, then it's everyone else, then it's you. God wants you to lower yourself to the point, tell yourself that you are worthless. You're deserving of not just nothing, but you're deserving of less than nothing. You're deserving of eternal conscious torment just for being born in a way that He designed you to be. And then He's just going to like gaslight you into staying loyal to Him. And this is why people can't come to the conclusion that God's evil, because I think deep down they feel the threat. They're terrified of thinking outside that box because He can read your mind. You can't even have like a doubtful thought about it. It's dangerous. It's like an existential threat to think outside of this. But the conclusion follows: God is evil. And that system, if it's true, would make God evil.
I mean, nobody likes to think about the fact that God watches us all have sex, but He does. It's a thing.
Yeah.
The human anatomy. I apologize. You got me a little off guard there. Your answer was really good and I got enveloped in it. So I apologize. I don't even know where I was going with that. Like, very honestly, I don't.
Well, do you have anything else for us, Selena?
I appreciate your time very much. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for having a civil debate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun. You have a good night. All right. Ratsub, you got time for some more?
Yeah, I got time.
Yeah. It's past my bedtime, but I feel like we got one person requesting, so and they've been
Whatever
waiting
you're
for a while.
feeling.
Hey, Roadman White, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I don't. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound clear, except like you're not really it sounded like you were like slurring your words or something. But what God do you believe in?
Christian God, I guess.
Okay. Why does God want us to think He's evil?
Do you believe that Christian God wants you to think it's evil?
Yeah, I think if the Christian God's real, then He definitely wants us to think He's evil.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, because God being all powerful and all knowing, behaving in certain ways that He knows we would consider to be evil, then just deciding to not clarify and explain why it's not evil or how it could even possibly not be evil. That leads me to the conclusion that maybe if He's somehow good and I'm not privy to that,
Okay, wait.
I'm not.
I
I
don't want
don't
to
have
hold too many.
access.
I don't want to hold too many points from what you're saying. You're saying a lot. I don't want to hold too many
I've made
points.
one point. I've made one point, barely.
Okay. Finish your points.
I mean, do you understand the point? Should I start it over?
You're saying that you have studied and translated what a Christian God, his ways as evil. Obviously, from the way he operates, it's an evil way, so he must want us to think it's evil. Right?
Yeah, he behaves like an evil, how he knows we would perceive an evil person to behave. Then he doesn't correct our understanding.
How would an evil person behave? What do you call slavery between him and an evil person?
Yeah, like somebody who is so since you're the Christian God, we'll say somebody who, like Ratsup said, endorses slavery. I would say that that's an evil thing to do.
How does he endorse slavery?
He says that you can own slaves. And he gives you guidelines on how you can treat your slaves.
Well, if you're accepting something like from the Bible, like from the scripture, you have to put into context like the times. That's one. You have to put into context the times, and two,
Let's talk about the narrative context for
having
the.
servants and slavery is part of the human experience. It's not something that you would. It's
By God's
not part of
design.
the human. Like right now,
Didn't
there are
have to
slaves
be.
up to
God
today.
wanted
Just
it
part
to
of the
be.
human
You understand?
experience. It comes free with a ticket.
Are you hearing? Are you hearing me?
So let me so the historical context. Well, at least I shouldn't say historical. The narrative context is when God is giving all these laws around slavery. He's giving them at a time when he's taking Israel out of slavery. So he is freeing people from slavery at this point, and then he's like, actually, here's how you can keep doing slavery since it was so good.
Wait, Oga, hold up. Did you hear my own point?
No,
That you started in the middle of mine.
he was already talking, so he couldn't hear you over the sound of his own voice. Did you hear what he was
exactly.
saying?
I was saying, like, wait, hold up. Yeah, I want to be clear that you understand where I'm coming from. Like, okay, yeah, no slavery. I'm like, nah. Slavery is part of the human experience, how you see it.
Right, I was explaining how that's
now,
bullshit.
historically. So wait. If you're going to manage the situation, how are you going to communicate it towards you? You have to use something that is in your existence to explain how to handle this, like slavery. Do you understand?
So here's a couple of things. So I'm going to repeat what I said before. First of all,
do you understand?
I understand you're wrong. And here's why you're wrong.
How am I wrong? Hey,
here's why you're wrong. Let me explain. There's two reasons. First reason, like I said before, is the narrative context of this is the people being brought out of slavery. So this is the people who are suffering under slavery, who have not gone into the land. You have to let me finish.
Would you let him finish?
Shut up. You're coming from. Wait.
Rogue.
You wait. Let me finish this up. I need to get this through. I really need to get this through.
I don't think I've muted anybody yet tonight until now. You gotta let him finish, man.
So these are people coming out of slavery. And God, if He's going to choose at any time to like stop slavery, this would be a great time to stop slavery. The second thing is really the historical context of what other nations were doing at the time doesn't really matter because we're talking about an ultimate God who should not have a relative sense of morality that changes based on what's popular in the situation. We know that God doesn't care about what's popular in the situation because He's telling all of the Hebrew men to chop the tips of their dicks off. He doesn't care what's popular. He's in fact doing things on purpose to separate them from what was popular at the time in the historical narrative. So, on both of these senses, it doesn't make any sense for God to not condemn slavery.
Okay, can I come in now?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I'm not looking at it. Okay, you're saying historical context. Like, I feel like time is time. Like, the times we are in is times like infinite. Do you understand? People just die. Like, we age and die. Like, people age and die. But times are like the times. Do you understand? I'm not using the right like words, the right like grammar, but like okay, slavery is because there's slavery because there are people that are capable of dominating you and having you as their slave forever. That's how it's going to ever be in the history of mankind. That's how human beings are, because human beings are evil. So for God to address that situation, they name the context of all the slavery. He has to address it, and also the laws of how they're supposed to be managed, so you can know the concept of what is an evil person or what is a good thing, what is a good slave. Do you understand?
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying because people are already doing slavery and it's just a part of what we do, like God's recognizing it is a bad or evil thing. Thanks, Kaisak. That's the first nail of the night, by the way, guys. Anyways, so God thinks that slavery is evil, but since everybody's already doing it and it's just a part of human culture, he's trying to like correct them and like woo them away from it. Is that kind of what you're trying to say? So he like gives guidelines for it.
Yes, along that line. Yes, exactly.
So what is
do you
the
think
first
about-
commandment?
Oh, I was going to a different one, but
Awesome. Go ahead. You go ahead.
yeah. So what do you think about well, I think it's the third or the sixth command. I don't remember which one. Thou shalt not murder. This is like a part of human experience. We just do this all the time. But like, does God give us guidelines for murder?
It's not more than all.
Like, if you're gonna
So
murder,
it's
here's how you
against
should do
murder.
it, kind of thing. We're gonna woo you away from the
No, no,
murder.
no, no. He said that you should say that's not more than all. So he does like against murder.
Right, it's just like how he's against
Already.
slavery, but he's trying to woo people away from slavery by saying like you can own slaves, just do it in this particular way. So, but he didn't do that with murder. He doesn't say, "Yeah, I'm trying to woo you away from murder, so you can still murder, like it's allowed, but do it in this way. Like at least be respectful."
And where I was going with it was kind of similar. It's like he can give you laws against like shrimp, eating shrimp. He can give you laws against like not worshiping other gods, which are both things that people are going to keep doing very much. In fact, most of the Old Testament is about people worshiping other gods continually over and over. What
There's
the
not really
fuck?
any leeway on that. It's not really like it's a strict
Yeah, but then now
transgression.
introduce the concept of Jesus Christ now. Again?
I need to know what animal that was in the background. What was that noise?
I think it was a door.
Oh, that's my chair.
Oh, okay.
Chair.
Okay.
That was close.
It sounded like a parrot.
It was a chair landing on a ferret.
Oh my god. Yeah, so
It's just
what are you
inconsistent, is
saying
what we're
now?
saying. We're just saying it's inconsistent. Like God is like
No,
saying
no,
this
what
is
is very
evil,
consistent.
but
I
we're
think
gonna
it's-
give you
I think it's
guidelines
very
to woo you away
consistent.
from it. But then like all these other things like
Oh,
eating
okay, yes,
shrimp
yes,
and
yes,
mixed
yes, yes, yeah.
fabrics and sex before marriage and wanting
You,
stuff, like
yeah,
that's all
good.
evil.
Yeah.
But like that's a strict
Let
hard
me,
like no
yes, let
lying,
me,
never.
where is, yeah, good. You said, you still with the murder thing. I said, God is against murder now. It's clear, it's right there, against murder. What was the next thing?
Oh yeah, like
Is it
eating
dress code or
shellfish
what?
and wearing mixed fabrics, telling lies,
Okay, yes.
thinking of boobies.
So,
You're not allowed
like,
to do that.
Working on Sunday.
You're working on
you
Sunday
have
or
to slow
Saturday.
down with like
depending.
every point. It's not like with the every like context of what you're saying, like what to eat and what not to eat. Those people used to eat very bad stuff for their health that they used to die because like health are not like technology are not advanced what it is now. So don't eat fucking shit that has ringworms inside. But they maybe it's when the roast it is so good, they just eat it all the time and they die. Like they have like lepers, they have like unclean people, they don't call those people unclean and they give them the code of conduct how to live their life so they can be clean. It's like training them how to be more civilized that we are enjoying the benefits of right now.
I think it kind of just makes more sense that like men wrote these laws, God was involved in
like,
all.
this is so evil because it's so stressful. So okay, let's say like a good diet to be so stressful for you. Like, why didn't God just make the good diets to be something that is delicious to me? You know, you think it's evil, not evil. You have to, you have
We're
to
talking about the
just
slavery
discipline
thing.
people.
We're not talking about the diet.
Yeah, slavery. If people are owning slaves, how slavery is being owned by evil people? They're not evil people. They will not be slaves.
Yeah, I think
They are servants.
institutionalizing slavery is worse for society than occasionally people eating bad shrimp.
Like in hierarchy of
Yeah.
every social setting, there's someone that made the social setting happen. There's someone that's providing for that setting. So the least in the rank in that setting, whether it's in your family, would be the servants. So, but when someone politically, I want to say, dominates another social group, they make those people their slaves, which is an evil concept.
Yeah, and God's okay
And
with
that
us
is just part of the
substantiating
human
the
experience.
evil. Yeah, he's willing to grant us this evil thing. Like I don't
You're,
know
you're,
if there's any
you're
other
translating
thing.
that as evil. It's not an evil thing. It's just what happens.
Slavery is an evil thing. If you enslave somebody, that's evil. You don't like.
You cannot enslave someone forever.
Like if I were
It's
to,
not an evil thing. People.
Yeah, well, according to the Bible, you can. But like, if I were to enslave somebody, Road, I mean, would you say, well, there's just some shit that happens sometimes. What you gonna do? Love's having a slave. You know what I mean? Like, You wouldn't think that. You'd think, wow, look,
Okay,
he's a piece of shit for owning a
let
slave.
me do it in practical terms. Like, okay, like now, for example, capitalism as a form of slavery, or imperialism, America's
Well, this is just like conflating
influence
the
on other
terms.
countries, how they operate. Let me land. How America's influence on how other countries operate, just to keep the stability of the world in check.
Yeah, hegemony
Someone
is
can
not
sit down
slavery.
and say, okay, this is a very evil thing. Someone can look at it as, well, if you're the weakest person, this is what's going to happen to you. First of all, the
Yeah,
concept
we're
of
not
good and
talking about
evil,
capitalism.
human
We're
beings aren't
talking about
supposed to
chattel
know
slavery.
what is good or evil. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
You were talking about
So
capitalism being a
what are
form
you
of
saying now?
slavery.
You're saying it's inconsistent. It's not inconsistent. I think the concepts have been very consistent.
No.
Disagree utterly. Yeah.
Go
So
on
chattel
now.
slavery is a
Let me know.
specific form of someone being owned by another person. It's not at all equivalent to just the general bureaucratic overlordship of our Western society and the way it impacts the rest of the world. Like, yeah, that's a shame, and it might be an injustice, and it might be restricting of freedoms, but it's not the same thing as one individual owning another.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same
It's
thing. What do you think?
I
I don't know where you live, but over here in the United States, we abolished slavery. So what do you think? Like, do you think that nothing changed? Like
people kidnap the
when we
president of another
abolished
country.
slavery, when we abolished slavery.
Slavery is
Wait,
part of
I don't
the
think you can hear
American
me. Hey, hello,
experience.
mic testing 1 2 3. Can you guys hear me? The guest can't hear me. I don't think because he's talking over me the whole
We
time.
can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, you
Slavery
can.
is
I
part
thought that you couldn't hear me
America,
because you were
that's
just
what they
talking
do.
the whole time. So, anyways, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
When we abolished slavery, do you think that nothing changed? Like it was just like a thing on paper, and then everything went on business as usual, or do you think that there was an actual radical change in American culture?
I think it was business. I think it was a gradual, slow grind into what America has evolved to. But the concept of slavery is still very well active in America.
You are not allowed to own someone as property in America anymore.
Okay.
Arguably, our prison system might be a form of slavery, but that's an issue, not a defense of slavery or a defense of our prison system.
Prison
I'm
system
not
needs
going to go
reform.
into some ideological warfare to explain how America still slavery exists in America. But if you don't believe it does, that's you. I believe
Legally
it
does
does.
not.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Except maybe in the prison system or something where you like that's one way you could look at it. But like with you say like capitalism, I mean, yeah, you do kind of have to in a society. You got to go to work or you got to make money somehow in order to participate in the society, to have money to spend, to pay your bills and stuff. And so like in that light, you could see it as a form of slavery, but it's just not chattel slavery, which is the topic of this current discussion. Like if you want to leave, you're free to leave, and if you disobey the boss, he's not allowed to beat you until you don't get up for a day. Like it's just not allowed.
Okay. So if I'm in my country and I'm growing something in my country and I'm selling it, and you come and arrest me from your own country, are you not a slave master?
If I rescue you from a country?
If you arrest me for growing something I'm growing something that grows in my country, like cocoa or potatoes or opium, and I'm selling it, but for some reason, for some geopolitical reason or for some economic reason, you come and arrest me from my own country, like extradite me, like you would do to Venezuelan president. Guys, you conquered another country, conquest of another country, and setting regime change, setting how that country is going to be run. That is administrative slavery. We cannot be doing slavery of 1,000 years ago. It's not going to be the same.
I think being arrested by a government is very different from owned by another individual.
Come on.
It is, especially when the verse that I was going to cite, it had you asked, didn't have anything to do with like political conquest or anything like this.
But that's what slavery is, man.
But I do want to point out the biblical slavery, Leviticus 25, does point out specifically going to take your slaves from foreign nations. So, yeah, that kind of is biblically what it says you can do.
Okay,
Yes, it
so I'm
does say
right.
that, but it also talks about purchasing them in that passage. It talks about war sex slaves in another passage.
People sold slaves 100 years ago. Is that not too long? So for the most 15,000 years of human existence, we have sold slaves.
A little longer than that.
Okay. So yeah, I think
Not every society has been slave
think
holding
that
either.
is evil. Evil people want us to think that God is evil. Thank you. I don't think there's any. I don't think the premise of your question is even right, because even in the biblical context, God doesn't even want us to know what is good or evil. He also wants us to trust Him throughout.
Right, but like if we have the knowledge of good and evil, then we can accurately make the value judgments of what is good and evil. So like if God is behaving in ways that we would perceive as evil, if we truly have the knowledge of good and evil denoted from the Adam and Eve myth, then we would be accurate in describing or understanding what is good and evil if God is doing a particular thing. And if he's doing something that we would know to be an evil action, it doesn't clarify why it's not evil, then he would just want us to think that he's evil, even if there is some kind of explanation to twist it into goodness somehow.
Okay, can I come in now? So
yeah.
at the beginning,
oh, you listened the whole time that time. That's really good. I appreciate that.
I apologize.
That was really good. You can.
No, do you know why? Let me explain. Because sometimes, like, the points I want to hold back, like when you say something, I want to keep tabs of, okay, this is my rebuttal to what you said. But then you go for like 2 straight minutes and you've said like maybe 4 points that I have to recall. It will be difficult to hold all 4 points at the same time. You know, like now I've forgotten what the point I was going to address that you just said. What?
It's a shame.
Yes, the concept of knowing good and evil. So at first, he didn't want you to know what is good and now you now know what is good and evil. You don't now have the wisdom of that he has.
I'm sorry, it sounds like you're saying.
Let's say this is God that has lived for like eons. You're just you don't have the wisdom to handle the knowledge of good and evil, how to judge it.
So are you saying that slavery is good actually, and we just aren't smart enough to know it?
Slavery is part of the human experience. It's an unfortunate part of the human experience.
So is it part of God's plan and therefore a good thing or not?
God's plans for it.
So God planned for slavery. Your God just wants slavery then.
To live life to the fullest is the direct opposite of.
A full life includes an experience of slavery.
God decided to create this world rather than that world. In this world, there is slavery that he feels he needs to work around. But in that world, everything's the same, but there's no slavery he needs to work around. He's all powerful. He could instantiate either of these. And he decided to create the world where there's slavery because reasons.
He thought it was fun.
I guess. Maybe you wanted to watch this argument.
I think human beings make slavery, but only like creation that has slaves.
What? What did you say?
I mean, if God made everything, I think human beings made slavery now, no?
We think human beings made God.
Yeah. Yeah, we came up with
that. I think human beings made slavery.
I still can't understand what you're saying.
That's on you, but I think human beings made slavery. You said God made the world that made slavery and wants for fun. I'm like, no, human beings made slavery.
Oh yeah, right. So God made the world,
I
and
said
like,
no.
but
Yeah.
the point was, I think you missed the point. So God could have made a
God made the
different type of
perfect
world,
world, and
right?
human beings
God being
chose
all
to have
powerful.
slaves.
So I'm just clarifying what I was trying to say. God being all powerful can make any kind of world he wants to make. He decided to make this world where in which humans create slavery. He could have made this other world where in which humans never create slavery. But he thought it was better to create the world where humans create slavery. I guess because he wants us to think he's evil.
Okay, so which world model do you think is the perfect world?
I suppose one of perfect bliss. I guess. I don't know.
The one where you don't have freedom to think, have these opinions that you're having now.
What?
Do you want a world where you don't have freedom to think your own thoughts?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
And I think
So this is a perfect world now.
No, this is not a perfect
So this is a perfect world now that human beings are fucking up.
If we're fucking it up, it's not
Um,
perfect. And if we're fucking it
I
up
don't
and
know
God
what to
knew
tell
we'd
you,
fuck it up,
bro.
it would be by
God
design.
made the perfect.
I don't think you
God
need
made it
Yeah,
suffering to have
I don't still
freedom.
understand how you think God is evil. I don't still understand that. Because everything you see that has been evil has been work of human beings that we have been trying to
I mean,
correct over
this is
and
just because
over.
we started
Stop
off with
doing this thing.
slavery and
Stop
got down a
doing this
rabbit
thing.
hole, but we can talk about natural evil. Why is it the case that sometimes you'll have children who are born with Harlequin's disease, and it looks like they're like inside out, and they live a life of agony and pain at every waking moment until they die, usually before they even turn one. Um, Human beings didn't do this. This would be a part of God's perfect design. So why did God do that?
That's not a perfect design. That person has a problem.
Right, so God fucked up the design.
No.
Then he
You
wouldn't
know
do
that
that.
person tells history, no?
Then like Harlequin's disease, it was intentional. And
Like Down syndrome. I don't know what Harlequin's disease is.
I don't want to talk
For
about
like
Down
some
syndrome.
mutation defects. I'm not assuming like okay,
I don't
some
want to talk about Down
mutation
syndrome.
or okay, but this some stuff is lifestyle. You have to account for the person's lifestyle, history,
I'm
stuff,
talking about Harlequin's
mutation,
disease.
work. Yeah, what I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's this terrible disease where um the child basically looks like they're inside out. It's like their skin is all fucked up, and they live in constant agony until they usually die before they reach the age of 1 year old.
Uh, sorry.
I usually cry when I hear about
So
that type of suffering. I don't normally laugh at it.
Yeah.
like
And that cancer, parasitic
you can
wasps,
speak
all of
then
these
just
things
talk
come
about
down to
God.
the
I'm not
same
concerned.
issue where God either couldn't prevent it happening or he chose for it to happen specifically because he's all powerful.
But if you believe in God, one, you believe that you don't believe in like death.
What?
Like
I
you
just
believe in
don't.
after, you believe in God, you believe in
I don't
afterlife.
think he's
No.
tracking it.
Yeah, I don't. Regardless, just fuck it. We'll say that there's an afterlife. So you think that it's good or acceptable that children suffer gratuitously for no reason just because they get an
Yeah,
afterlife?
yes. The Harlequin's disease. Yes, what is the cause of the Harlequin's disease, please?
I don't know. I think it's
It's a
something that just
genetic
happens.
disease, I think. It just
I'm pretty
is,
sure
yeah.
it's just a genetic. Yeah, it's something that can
God
just
just
happen
said,
sometimes.
So it
yeah,
can happen to like anybody. Like, I think it's so rare that it is insignificant, and
Oh no,
wherever it
because it
happens,
happens
there's
at
a
all, it's very
clear cause like
relevant.
lifestyle
And it's
traits.
not the only type of disease that's like this. There's other diseases too that are just genetic that don't need to exist, right? If God is all good, then these wouldn't exist even in a single case.
Yeah, like how many people is God allowed to torture to death before it becomes an issue for you?
Having disease is not
Hey, Road, if I
evil
torture and
now. It's
kill
a biological flaw.
if I torture and kill one child, do you not care because it only happened one time? Like I only did it once. Because
If you
God's
torture
doing
one
that.
child,
God's doing that by the billions.
God is torturing children.
Yeah.
Yep. There are constantly children
If
dying of starvation in today's
you
world.
wait, slow down. If you torture one child, how would you go about it?
Why? It doesn't matter how. Don't be gross. We don't need to get into how. Torture is
You
torture.
need to get in the how.
We don't. I think that
So I can know whether you're evil
since
or
he
not.
laughed at the Harlequin's disease, I think he does get off on child torture. This is all becoming very clear. He doesn't think this
Behold
is
the Christian, everybody.
Yeah, I mean this.
No.
Anyway, this is like this is getting.
You
a
have to
little
understand the
weird.
psyche of.
I'm just gonna
You're
let you
judging
go.
someone's character and psyche, so it's good.
Yeah, it's like way after. Anyway, so yeah, this is a little.
We had some real winners tonight. He didn't even have the excuse of at least it's good for recruitment like the other guy.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of very telling. Hey, thanks, 3 pips. Oh, by the way, guys, I know it's late, but if you've already sent me a heart me, I think it's after midnight everywhere in the States now, everywhere in North America. So you can send it again if you sent one prior to midnight. Even though it's the end of the stream, it's still the heart me like stacks because it like adds people to like the fan club thing. So that helps the FYP. It's a way that you can help the future streams as well. Hawaii. I mean, is it after 12 in Hawaii? I don't think it is.
Hawaii doesn't exist. They aren't real people.
Well, as the ancient Hawaiians used to say, when you're itching for the waves, the only lotion is the ocean. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
What's that from?
I think it's from Rocket Power, and the only reason I think that is because that one dude, the big guy with the Hawaiian shirt and the sandals, I don't know how to describe him any other way, as the ponytail. There was a picture of him with that quote on it, so I think it's a quote from the show.
I'll have to check it out.
I just love it. I say it sometimes. I'm like, when you're itching for the waves, the only lotion is the ocean. It's like it's catchy. It's like a fun little joke.
It's great.
Because like when you apply lotion, the itch goes away. Anyway. Yeah, thank you guys for joining tonight. Make sure you guys are following Rat Soup. Whoa. I saw my hand show up on the stream on my phone, and I thought it was like another person's face coming up behind me. It wasn't a horror movie for a split second there.
It's getting late, huh?
Oh my god, yeah, I'm hallucinating. It's a personal experience. Now I know that the devil is real and that he's God, and we should all just hail Satan, I guess.
Robot Goat makes hats and so has these mannequin heads occasionally at various places around the apartment with hats on them. And that has made me think there's a person sitting in random spots a few times.
There is this. So I used to work at this. I used to have this job where in the bathroom there was a. It was like the fathead posters or I don't know. It wasn't a fathead. It was like a full cutout, a cardboard cutout, like standing up. Of I assume one of the founders of the company. I don't know who it was. Hey, thanks, Mom's Red Kitchen, for that snail. I've only got 2 snails tonight, so I appreciate that. So anyway, every time you open the door, it's like standing right there, and I'd seen it tons of times, but it got me every time. And I remember being like, okay, this time I'm gonna be prepared for this, so it's not gonna get me this time. I opened the door and it wasn't there. So then I closed the door, and as the door was closing, it was behind the door, and it got me. Like they moved it behind the door.
That's so fast.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've also got a Discord. Link is in the description, in the bio. Description. It's in the bio, so I'll be live again tomorrow, probably with Ogar. If you guys like Ogar, give him a follow. He goes live 5 nights a week. He's very logical and cool. He crashes out though. He doesn't have the same kind of patience we got in here. So if you want to come with your best logic and rationality tomorrow, then come tomorrow. But if you want a slower conversation, tomorrow's not the best night. At any rate, I appreciate the 24,000 likes and the 50 new followers. That's really cool. Thank you guys for the support. Mom's Red Kitchen sent some support. Slamini, that person sent some support. Life's a Glitch sent support. 3 Pips and Kaizak. Violet. Drive T. Stois Amanda, y'all gotta chill with the names, man. Sufi Hayu, Common Sense, Chaos sent a lot of stuff. Pretty Cat, Dipler. There should be a vowel between that. It's hard to pronounce. Tiny Science, Dan, Fen, Godless Pianist, Ari Won't, Mazjikeen, Saintly, Cannabinoid, man, y'all crazy. Oh, and Rat Soup, yeah, he sent some support. Yeah, thank you guys. I really do appreciate all of the gifts and stuff. It helps push the stream out, and I get a cut of the money too. So I really appreciate it. I'll see you
Yeah,
guys.
well, for the gifts to me, Kaizak actually sent me quite a bit, so appreciate you as well.
Yeah, thanks for sending support to Rat Soup as well. He got 1, 2, 3. We could have got to 666, but whatever. There's always next week. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful
next week too.
Oh, hey, actually, do you want to hear that song for Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29?
Yeah,
I was gonna play because we were waiting for a guest, but then the guest showed up, and I was like, I don't want to sit around. Anyway, here's Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29.
If a man meets a virgin who is not pledged to be married, not engaged, and forces himself on her, and they are discovered, better not get caught. He shall pay the girl's father 50 shekels of silver, because that's the real victim here. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. That'll teach him. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. Now she can be legally violated every day, every day, oh, every day. Oh yeah, every day, every day. He gets guaranteed dips to purchase that lady. Now she can be forced to have his babies. 50 shekels for some lifetime poontang. Do is just take, violate, isn't it great? Violate, isn't it great? All he's gotta do is to brave.
And that's pretty
much
it.
That was fucking horrible.
It continues and it's all fun and everything, but it just kind of repeats the same thing the second time around. It just amps it up. Yeah, Palace, it is AI. I like to generate fun songs. I've done Bible songs with Lobes twice, and that was gonna be the third one, but then I never finished. Not me dancing, Dan. I never finished that one. I got Bible songs with Lobes 2 pinned. So if you guys want to see the Amalekite story put to music, I am dancing around in that one and frolicking. Anyway, I've been stalling long enough. Let's go raid Tiny Science.
All right.
I'll see you guys over at
Have a great night.
Good night.